Hello, love wrestling. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
Can we start off with the biggest news of the week? The Rats lost!
But every night I'm making new best friends, and the only problem is you're not giving a good time. Forget yourself now.
If you've got the budget, I've got the time.
There he is.
Hey, boss!
There's the boss.
Hey! The man with the finest beard on this screen. Canadian boys, shut the hell up. Let me talk.
You see, the Rads are resourceful. When I got beef with somebody, I can find a way to talk to them.
And listen between two beers.
Getting down.
Hello, love wrestling. It is Thursday night, and it is 8 p.m. And you all know what that means. It's another, you don't know yet? I've done 179 of these things.
179, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know yet?
No.
It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
It's because I literally didn't think of anything else to do before you said it.
It's fair. It's fair. We're welcoming everybody all in the chat. We got a big one tonight. Excited about the guest that we have on tonight to dive into some wrestling talk of the week. We got Crown Jewel. We had the return of the one night Wednesday night war last night. A whole bunch of stuff going on in the wrestling world this week, and we are excited to have our guest on, who we will be bringing on in just a few minutes. But before we do that, PLUGGO.
Yes.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm in jeans for the first time in podcast history. Because I was
like in your podcast history.
Yeah, I always wear something comfortable to podcast
Fair.
in, but from this here down, it's usually shorts or some sweatpants. But you know, I was at something for my son in Rush.
I need to know, because your son started wrestling camp today.
He did. We signed him up for.
He's 5?
He just turned 6.
Just turned 6. Without a doubt, I 100% believe he thought it was WWE.
Oh, for sure, for sure. In the car on the way there.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna drop.
He goes. I get to do some claymores, right? I was like, nah,
dude, you're gonna hate your decision in 5 minutes.
Not that kind of wrestling, my guy.
Yeah,
I was like, they have wrestling mats. It's not a ring. You can't be, GTS and people or hitting the crossroads or whatever you want. No, none of that. No chairs.
Yeah.
No tables, not bots. You go there, you learn some. But he seemed to be into it. He was down. He was doing his thing. Listen. All I know is Paralera needs a tag partner. Sheik Shabazz needs a tag partner. So Owen is doing his training so they can have a proper tag partner. Suck it, Barakarani, you bum. Anyway,
I will not speak bad of Barat.
I will.
He does not speak bad of me.
He's trashing me on the internet before the show.
Yeah, but he wasn't trashing me though. He was putting me over.
He's just jealous. He's just jealous. That's all I'm saying. But no, I'm good, man.
Yeah, you're good. I'm glad. I'm doing well too. I'm excited about tonight. Come on, you do the thing. You're the best.
How are you first, real quick? I'm good. That's it.
It's been a wild week. It's been a wild week.
It has been a wild week.
We'll bring our guest on. We'll talk to wrestling and the way the conversation goes, where it goes. But I'm sure we're all feeling.
It was a busy week in wrestling. It was such a busy week in wrestling, Dustin. Which, by the way, Dustin, I saw what you did on the internet. I don't appreciate that, but that's neither.
What did he do?
He sent me pictures of Paralera dancing and doing her thing. I don't need that on my feed, man. I don't need that on my feed. TFA, Stephen Crow, take care of business at LPW 32.
Fair enough.
But it's such a big week of wrestling, we had to bring in a guest, and we've got Joey Karni of the Angle Podcast joining us to help us make sense of all of this craziness that was.
What's going on, guys?
Or that is. It's still.
How are you, man? Welcome,
Good,
welcome in. Super excited to have you here. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be between two beards.
Right.
And by the way, that entrance music,
banger, right?
Probably the best that I've ever heard.
It's unbelievable. We've had it for 3 years since day one. We had it because that was one of the things when we were planning stuff. We were like,
yeah,
him and I are like pop punk, screamo. You know, we haven't left that. I'm an elder emo, is what they call it nowadays.
Got it.
And we're very similar in our music taste. And that was like one of the main things. We were like, all right, we got the name, we got the time slot, we're good. We need to have a banger of a song, man. It needs to be a good one. And I think we nailed it.
Shout out to those guys for letting me use that for free.
Yes. PLUGGO was in that scene, and that's
those are my boys.
You can use this. And we were like, oh, thank you.
Perfect. So thank you. That makes me feel good to know. I mean, I don't know how many podcasts you've done. He's like, this is my first podcast. Best podcast song ever.
I've done too many. That's
fair.
That's fair.
We got Scott in the chat saying, good evening, gentlemen. And then Affiliate saying, I saw what you did on the internet. Not sketchy at all. It was sketchy. He sent me pictures of Barat and Sheik.
Yeah.
Doing like
feud here at Love Wrestling.
We have a wrestling
hating everybody.
Here, Joey.
PLUGGO starts beef with everybody. So LPW, we have a wrestling federation as well. We have a wrestling company. And PLUGGO has I'm not going to say PLUGGO starts stuff, but PLUGGO has a good way of, I feel like we've been doing this for 3 years. He's had a good way of having almost the whole roster hate him at some point.
So pretty much you're almost like a Sami Zayn kind of character.
Kind of.
On purpose, and
planting seeds everywhere. Like
what is going on?
I can count on 2 fingers the amount of people that haven't yelled at me in that company.
That's what I'm saying. And then they come on here and they yell at him. Meanwhile, they're like, you're fine. You're good. We're just here to, I'm just like, all right, well, here we go.
Yeah, they just show up. They might show up tonight. Let's hope not. Because God, I'd rather not. But
yeah,
listen, I can't help it. Okay. Listen, I call it like I'm journalistic, integralistic. You could understand that. You do a show, you do a podcast, you have your takes. It's what you're supposed to do.
I get it. I'm on your side. I don't even know what happened, but I'm on your side.
Good, because you're involved now. Because this gang affiliation rules. And since you're on the show, you're in it now.
That's it.
Sorry.
That's it. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got Crown. We're going to be going over what happened this past weekend in Crown Jewel. We did have obviously Raw as well, and then we had last night. We had the one night return of the Wednesday Night War with NXT at the ECW Arena, which was a very cool show, and then obviously AEW as well. So that was a lot of fun. But before we dive into that wrestling stuff, I wanna get to know you a little bit more. So obviously you have the Angle podcast and stuff, but how long have you been doing the wrestling content or content in general? What kind of, usually the first question I ask all our guests is like, when did you first fall in love with wrestling in general as just a fan of wrestling? Like, what was that first moment that was like, I'm in?
So I started watching wrestling, believe it or not, when I was 3 years old, and it's just been a consistent thing. And then it became like a daily thing. And I think in 2020 is when we couldn't leave the house. We couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I said, how do I turn this love and passion that I have for wrestling? And I started this off to kind of backtrack. I started this off with the love of writing.
Okay.
And that's where I started. And I'm like, how do I mix writing with wrestling? I always wrote wrestling stuff when I was a kid. I would watch Raw, SmackDown, Velocity, Heat, whatever it was on TV.
Velocity.
Velocity. Good pull, man. Wow. Damn, Velocity.
When did WWE have a green brand, right?
Right? Yeah.
And I would just write like my own articles based upon what I saw, like just observing. I couldn't hold it in. I had to get it out. And all this way down the road in 2020, I said, how the hell do I combine all these things? Bought a $20 Amazon microphone, watch YouTube videos, and here we are.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And that was a time, like you said. We couldn't leave the house. You were in it. You had to come. Yeah. Some people started streaming video games a lot, started doing stuff, content. I feel like the content landscape from 2020, for obvious reasons, it's just a completely different monster now.
It's
You know what I mean?
Easier. It's much easier now for sure.
It's a necessity today, believe it or not, in society.
Yeah. It's truly unbelievable.
I mean, people come here for their wrestling news and insight for sure.
And we make them realize real quick. We're like, we should not be coming here for that. We'll come here for entertainment, but not for that. That is what.
Oh man!
Hey, where else in wrestling are you going to get two phenomenal beards? Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, listen.
You want me to grow mine out. So I get it.
Kind of 3 beards.
Yeah, listen, that's fine. Between 3 beards, we need a new graphic. Yeah. So you said you started this in 2020, and it's kind of spiraled from there. When did you realize, okay, I've got something here? This is happening. I'm just gonna go fully, because I think all of us start this. Like, I know when I started in very secretive terms, where it was like, if this is not something that I love, I don't want to tell everybody that I'm doing it just to flame out in 6 months. Yeah. Here I am, like 7 years later, still going. But how about for you?
I kind of did the opposite of that, where I was kind of just blabbing and telling everybody to kind of keep myself accountable, because it's so difficult. It sounds easy, but it's very difficult to sit down one day a week and record a podcast episode. I think there's like a crazy statistic where it's like 1% like get past like 10 or something episodes like that, and they just drop out. So it was really difficult to do that, and I would just have to find something to talk about. And then I got offered to do an interview, and that changed my whole perspective, because I had never even thought about doing interviews. And then I'm like, we're in the pandemic. I could use this as a platform for wrestlers to talk, even though I have like 50 followers. Doesn't matter. It's still something. And I think the moment where I interviewed Rob Van Dam, and I was like, all right, this is something.
Yeah.
People around me who weren't necessarily wrestling fans knew who Rob Van Dam was, and that kind of like made me feel more legitimate. So that was kind of like that moment for me.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Hell
yeah. And I think, just in general, I think, when people think of content creators, I think a lot of the time they think, oh, well, content creator, how hard can that be? You're just sitting down reacting to something, or watching along with something, or playing a game, and it's stuff like. And I think it just has that kind of, a lot of people have that mindset of like, oh, that's not hard. It is hard. It is hard, because sometimes there's not a lot to talk about. Sometimes your burnout is a serious thing in this type of, because you got to always be on all, and all this stuff. So I think that's kind of like it's a different side of how, like, I think the mentality of how people view content creators in general. I think that's kind of one of the stigmas, where I think people don't understand how hard it is if you are someone who's committed and doing content every day, and I know you that's one of your every day you got something, and it's like that can be hard, and that's a lot, and like might not seem like it on the surface, but really it's harder than most people think to kind of always be on like that, always have something creative or fun to come up with, ideas, what you're saying. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
I think my first podcast I ever did with that, I felt we fell into that trap where it's like, oh, we can just record tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and you're like, oh, we'll just do it the next day. And then it's like, but that's something that I've always, one of my pillars of my content creation was always like, if you say you're going to be there Thursday at 8:00, be there Thursday at 8:00. Yeah. Things do come up. Your fans will understand if you need, to pre-record or just not, take the night off. But being consistent and holding yourself accountable, like you said, is very important in this game. So for anybody that's listening that may be thinking about doing podcasting, here you go. My advice. Just do it.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
And I started doing it without a camera on. I would just record my voice, because I was like, I don't want to. The confidence was just not there.
Oh yeah.
And the first time in front of a camera, I was like, "What in God's name is this?" That's what I look like. Like, damn.
Yeah. I can feel that.
It's part of it, And if you have the passion for it, and you have, the drive and I guess motivation, you kind of hold yourself accountable in that sense, and you try to see if you can outdo yourself from the week before.
Yeah, 100%. And it is that, like PLUGGO was explaining it, like, oh, I'm on my first podcast, I'll do it tomorrow. I was like, that sounds like every relationship with the gym I've ever had.
I'm there with you.
I will go for a week. I will go for a week. And even though I feel great
Yep.
after going for a week, there's that one day
You're like,
you wake up and you got a headache or you got the littlest reason.
It's with
It's like,
everything, though.
yeah, it is with everything. Because when he was saying that, I was like, that's just how a lot of us are just with all things. You know what I mean?
That's me and like my diet. I'm trying to get into like
same
that
thing.
2025. Like I'm eating clean. So I started now because I know I'm going to fall off before 2025.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Like, yeah, that
Training myself
mindset.
now.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I wanted to bring up, because obviously we're going to be talking Crown Jewel and stuff like that. But we first ran into you for the first time and met you at SummerSlam weekend. And we crossed paths a few times. We introduced ourselves. We had some small chatter. So that was the first time that we met you in person.
Don't tell him, because then he's gonna be like, "Oh, it's those crazy." Photographers.
Yeah,
we were waiting in line for for half an hour. I want to say half an hour because it sounds good.
Yeah,
longer than that.
I think it was a little longer than that.
And it was our first time, so we didn't know what to do. So we just went into the line that, like, kind of where we ended up. And not unfortunately, but it was Bailey, and it was like an hour.
Yeah.
We got just
and
stuck.
We were chilling there. We were able to get some good stuff. And then obviously, we've had other guests on, but the walk from where we entered at SummerSlam to where we ended up sitting at SummerSlam
in the hallway,
but like walking through the crowd, it was like, man, I had people holding on to me. I was kind of near the front. I had people grabbing the back of my shirt saying, "Hey man," I'm like, "No, you're good, dude. Just hang on, man. I'm good. I got it. Like I'm fine." And it was just like, it was like, like we were going one way and everybody was going this, and it was like,
but it was awesome.
It was awesome. But that walk. Yeah.
How did you feel? Because you said it was your first time doing like WWE media.
It was mine, I should say. You did one.
He did Fastlane, bro. It was our first time together.
No. This was okay. So Fastlane, I just did the presser. This was my first like media weekend where I did it all, the whole thing.
Yeah. So I had the privilege of doing Money in the Bank in July.
Let's clarify.
Before SummerSlam, but this was our first one there together. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Yeah. What was the?
Got it. Yeah. So my first one was SummerSlam last year. So technically it's like a year. So I did SummerSlam last year, the Rumble this year, Mania, and then SummerSlam. So I'm still kind of new to this and learning. What did you guys think about the media overall? Was it, or should I say were they welcoming? Were they nice? Did you have a good experience? Because honestly, that's a big part that I don't think people talk about.
Yeah.
They try to like.
I did. I speak for JP, but I was very everybody was very cool and was down to help out. Like shout out to Emily May Heller for kind of keeping us under her wing for the weekend.
Definitely did. Yeah, for the weekend.
And then Ella and Jose and all them.
Yep.
I felt like through.
Yeah, I felt like we ended up when we first got there that first day. It was the Thursday, so there wasn't much going on. It was really just the first day we were there. It was actually the first time him and I had met in person too. So that was like a cool moment for us, just meeting each other for the first time in person. But I think we had people kind of guiding us a little bit, I should say. Like, hey, but my experience, like the two guys that run the stuff that we deal with the most, they're two of the nicest people I've ever met. They're wonderful guys. When we were doing the media, when we were in the room doing the media thing, PLUGGO and I were coming from an angle of we started talking a few weeks before of when we got the list, like a week before of who was going to be there. And we're like, all right, who do you want? Who do I want? We started doing that. And then we both kind of had the idea together where we were like, why don't we try to be different and just interview them together? Like our show is the both of us. So why don't we, that will differentiate us in the room, because I don't see a lot of people.
And people liked it because we didn't do the I'm going to interview Bailey, then you go interview Bailey, and then we take 30 minutes of everybody's time.
And then and again, I'm not throwing anybody. No, we're not throwing anybody like that, because the other members of the media are also amazing, and we all root each other on, and it's a very good atmosphere and environment to be around, because we are all we want to get ours and we want our interviews and we want to do our thing, but we are genuinely happy and rooting for everybody else that's doing kick-ass shit too, right? So it's a really good atmosphere. But Yeah, so Bailey was our first one, and you could tell like she was having great interviews with everybody. She was a rock star that day. But
She
when
sat
we got
there,
up,
I think, the whole time and just
she was one of the only ones that was there.
The
Like,
Iron Woman of
she never switched out.
Her and Corbin were like the Iron people.
Well, and that's kind of why I wanted to start here, because I wanted to talk about Baron Corbin for
Corbin,
it was just one of those things where like, and the WWE brass that are in charge of these things, they were complimentary of PLUGGO and I.
Good.
How we did it.
Yeah. At what point they
especially
came
being
over
your first time together, like that's
yes,
important.
and they were like, "Hey, we appreciate you like not taking too much, like you're taking a good amount of time, you're being respectful of."
Because it's easy, especially in a situation like that where you're new and you don't really understand all of that goes into it, to kind of like get lost in the moment and be like, take a little extra time. So we were very like, let's be in there, our 5-10 minutes tops, let's move on to the next thing, and that they seemed to like that. So
so it was a super great experience, and we went in, by the time we were done the media thing on that Friday morning, PLUGGO and I still we requested access for all the events because we wanted to do as much as we could, and we only had access for obviously the media thing that we did and the priest thing. And as we were leaving, one of the gentlemen that is one of the heads of the media stuff, he came to us and he was like, "What else do you guys got this weekend?" And we told him, and he was like, "That's all you have?" And we were like, "Yeah, we haven't heard about anything else." He was like, "I'll make sure you get other things."
We're like, "We're down here, buddy."
I'm like, I know where I'm at. I get it. I'm just I'm not, I have the mentality of I'm not just happy to be here. I want to do good, cool shit. But like, I'm happy to be there, dude. Yep. I'm happy to be there. You know what I mean?
That's exactly my mindset too. It's like, whatever you give me, I'm grateful. I'm just excited to be here because I'm a wrestling fan. We're wrestling fans.
Of course. I'm sitting and I'm a big football guy too. I'm sitting in the Cleveland Browns friggin' press box watching a WWE PLE. Like that's
with people that we just
shit, I'd be like, "You are full of crap, man. You're full of crap."
Just sitting there with people that we look up to in the business, and
like,
just being like,
nuts,
exactly.
It was dope. It was very cool.
Yeah, and immediately,
I don't think people give enough credit to people in the media because, like, I think people have the idea that everyone in there looks at each other as a competitor. When you go in there, it's almost like, everybody has their own thing that they do, but it's kind of like we have each other's back because the media are like a team in the sense where
it's a healthy competition, right? Like you want to get yours, you want to be successful, you want your interview to stand out among others, but you also know if I step on X, Y, and Z over here to get that interview, everybody in this room is going to see that.
Yeah.
So everybody's very complimentary. Like when we were sitting in line and some of those lines were super long, we would just turn the camera on to whoever was with us and be like, "Hey, let's chop it up for a couple of minutes while we wait."
We were in line.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that was it.
Yeah, and it was just like you might as well make the best out of it, and then you end up with lifelong friends out of it. We went to that what was it, that community event we ended up going to that. That was a great time. We got to pack meals and talk to it was like all around it was a very cool experience. I will tell you though, when I got home, because it was the first time I'd ever done something like that in my entire life, I slept for like 14 hours. You can ask Mr. PLUGGO. I came home, hugged the kids, talked to them for a few minutes, and then I was like, I just gotta fall asleep.
Really? And I also think, like, again, I've done the wrestling media, twice now at big shows like that. But, I've done some other stuff there. I've never done like pro sports media, like other sports. I don't know if it's the same, but I also feel like as growing up as a wrestling fan, when you meet other wrestling fans, even if you never met them before, you automatically feel like because not everybody gets it. Not everybody.
I see you in a wrestling T-shirt out in public. We're talking.
Yes,
it's been happening.
You see people in the same room as you, and you're like, they get it. I get it. We get it.
Yes. And so not everybody, but I am assuming 95% of the people in that room are in that room because at the bare minimum, when they were wrestling fans first. Most of us, if not all, right?
Yeah.
So when you meet other wrestling fans in general, you automatically have a bond that not everybody has.
Yeah.
This is between you and me, and the guy or the girl or whatever that's walking next to us. They might not understand what the hell we're talking about, but you and me are in this right now. Right?
I go in there. I'm excited to be there. I'm happy to be there. I get what I can get, and you know what? If I can be helpful to other people, whether we're waiting in line or whatever, that's all I want to do. Like
that was one of
my thing, and enjoy it.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things for us is since we did the interviews together, it was very cool of anybody in line. They're like, yeah, we'll make sure the shot is in frame. We'll make sure you look good. We'll set it up so you can get in there and, get started. And I was like, that to me was like super cool. Cause I'm thinking like, oh, we got to do the, like, let me check, run around the front, make sure it look, what I'm saying? And
genuine people,
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And you notice in the wrestlers, like they resonate with that too. Like we had a couple mishaps our first go. I think our first Baron Corbin interview famously, like it was no sound. And we're like, oh man, and it was so good. Yeah. But then like we walked over to him, we're like, hey, listen, I know we just recorded, you're trying to wrap up. Could we get a couple more minutes? And he like waved over to the media guys, was like, I'm gonna give him a few more, then I'll head out. And it's like because he's like, you guys were so nice.
And then he gave us like double the amount of time that he did first. And it's just like he didn't have to do that,
And I want to talk the kind of guy Corbin is.
Exactly. And we're talking about Corbin, and I want to dive into that. But first, we have somebody in the chat. He says, unrelated to anything being talked about right now, but is that an autograph from The Rock behind you, sir?
It is. It is.
Was there a
final boss?
I need the story. What is it?
It was the final boss before he was the final boss. So where I lived in Florida, just so happens to be the same area where The Rock lived in Florida for a long time. And I don't know if he still lives there or not. Southwest Ranches is the little area in southern Florida, next to like the Fort Lauderdale area for people who don't know Florida. I was working at a gym there in college. I was working at the front desk, and it was one of those gyms where a lot of athletes would come into because of the location. You have a lot of Dolphins players, a lot of Marlins players come in, a lot of whatever. And one day I'm standing at the front desk, and the desk is maybe 2 feet above the ground floor. So it's kind of like if you're working at the front desk, you could overlook the gym to see like what's going on.
Oh, nice.
Some guy walks in with a hood on, and he's eye level with me. And I'm like, this is a big
yeah, that's a monster of a man.
Like, wait a minute.
He has his hood down like this. He looks up a little bit, and I see it's The Rock. And he kind of does this like, hey, and just goes in, like does his thing with his bag. Like he's trying to be very, very discreet.
Yeah.
I've never been starstruck in my life. I had to grab onto the desk because my knees just were
shaking. Yeah.
Because being a wrestling fan and then The Rock is like face to face with you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So later,
you're like, I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm a big fan of the Tooth Fairy.
It's my favorite movie.
Yeah, man, love it.
Playmaker ruled.
I see him like working out and whatever, doing his thing, and then as he's getting ready to leave, I see him like a kid runs up to him and like right by the front door, and he's talking to this kid for like 15 minutes.
Wow.
So I went over there to kind of make sure that like he's not bothering him because my managers tell me like make sure nobody like kind of haggles him or whatever. So I started talking. I'm like big wrestling fan, start chopping it up a little bit. And I asked him, I don't even know I wasn't even thinking. You meet somebody like that, you just start talking, and I'm like, you mind if I get an autograph before you leave? And he gives me this thing. It says, to Joey, study hard, The Rock.
Unreal.
Fantastic. So the background story to that is I'm the first person in my family to graduate college.
Nice.
So kind of gave him that story, and he wrote that. And it was one of those cool full circle moments as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, of course. And
did you end up studying harder because of said autograph, or did you study at the same pace that you were studying? Let's put it up because The Rock's watching. He's got to know.
I would like to say that I studied harder.
Yeah.
You all know that's not true.
Dwayne, he definitely studied harder. You heard it here first.
I share a birthday with The Rock. We have the same
birthday.
Nice. So we're all connected somehow, But yes, so I did want to talk a little bit about Baron Corbin and obviously Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell.
Yeah.
This news came out on Friday, so we did not discuss it on last week's show, as our shows are on Thursdays. So I believe Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell were released, but Corbin, they're just not re-signing, right? That there's I
think they let it expire.
They let it expire, but the other two were unfortunately released. Obviously, always terrible when these type of things happen. You don't want to see anybody lose their job. But I do feel like the wrestling landscape now is the best place it can be, where the three of these people, if they want to continue wrestling, which I assume they probably do, there's going to be a lot of options and a lot of ways for them to still make a pretty damn good living doing what they like to do. Tegan Knox, they brought her back, and I feel like they really didn't. Oh, wait, first, before we dive in, I'll go do your thing. The first lady of Beards is here.
The first lady of Beards. Hi, honey. Love you. Hopefully Owen didn't scissor kick anybody's head off at wrestling camp.
I thought you were there.
I was, but she ended up bringing him home because I left.
Oh, because you had to be here.
I left a few minutes early, and they wanted to go stop somewhere afterwards.
Got it.
Hopefully he didn't stone cold stun the coach.
Hey, if he does a claymore on you, you know where he learned it.
It's true.
Oh, I had to stop wrestling him before we get into. I had to stop because he's like figuring it out, and it was starting to hurt. And I was like, Bud, listen, like I love you, but you got to protect your partner, bro.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a two-way dance.
It's a two-way dance,
and I'm ending up with the bumps and bruises here. So
let me ask you though, how cool is it though, like to be a dad and like do that with your kid? I'm not a dad yet, so
it's pretty.
I am not either.
It's pretty cool. So I have 4 kids, and each one of them has like a different relationship with the wrestling thing than I do, because this is what I do. So it's in the house all the time. And the older kids are like, yeah, Dad, that's cool. We'll watch with you. And then like my middle child is like, he's not really interested. But this one, he like took to it with like, he has all the figures. He knows the moves. He knows the wrestlers. Like I took him to his first WWE event this year. We went to a house show, and he just absolutely loved it. He made a sign, and Bailey actually pointed it. And every once in a while, I was like, Dad, remember when Bailey pointed at my sign? And I was like, yeah, dude, because we were like pretty close because we got some pretty good tickets. But yeah, it's wild, man. That like I always joke that I should have put some like chemistry or physics books in front of him. The way he's gravitated to wrestling, man, maybe I made a mistake because it hurts.
Hey, you never know. It could be eventually, the Three Beards. So
yeah, you never know. He's crashed the show a few times. JPJ is not a fan of sharing the screen with Owen, but
that's not well. Hey, take it easy. Just,
Well, no, be fair. To be fair, Owen does come on and heals it up.
I yelled at him every day. Yeah, he heals it up. He comes in, he talks trash about me. I'm like, bro.
Whoa.
I'm like, first of all, what? I will demolish you. You are a child. I would crush you. But Mrs.
Pluggo made that time. But yeah, we kind of have to monitor it a little bit. Like, obviously, I'm not going to go down like death match wrestling with him. Like, we keep it very surface level WWE and then things like that. Like, Bobby Lashley's his favorite wrestler, so I'll probably show him some AEW stuff here as he gets.
I used to get in trouble for doing F5s on kids at parties. So
yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it.
But yeah, Owen, if you're listening, Daddy loves you, and I hope please don't come home and put me into like a.
Owen just had a birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, he just turned 6.
Yeah.
And he got a Cody Rhodes action figure for his birthday. He also got another wrestler that we don't talk about, but I just think that person didn't realize that we don't talk about that wrestler anymore.
What?
Well, he's the most famous wrestler in the world.
Oh,
got it. We'll just put that one away. But
got it. Got it.
He also got Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, so he's hooked up. Anyway, enough about.
I get 4 action figures for my birthday.
Well, what happened is because he wants to come down and like mess with mine, and I was like, "You need your own," and then
you can't touch these.
Yeah, he's like, "These are."
But he's also wising up and going, "Well, you can't play with mine. You have your own." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's messed up, dude."
Yeah, it is. That is. It's smart. These kids get smarter and smarter.
Family war games.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That's right. Anyway, enough about that crazy SOB.
Yeah. No, but I feel like, they brought Tegan Knox back a little while ago, and they really didn't do much with her at all since she returned, unfortunately. A couple things here or there, but nothing. Indy had been doing the thing with Candace. They were on TV literally like within the few weeks of this announcement, and even after the announcement came out, they were on SmackDown that night. Just unfortunate. Indy, the stuff that she did in NXT in general, but with the way when she was paired up down there with that group, really good stuff. I would have liked to have seen a lot more from Indy Hartwell on the main roster. I think she's a big one. Like I not that doesn't mean I feel a certain way about the, Tegan compared to Indy. I just feel like Indy was on the main roster for a while and they just didn't. I don't know. I felt like she's charismatic. The crowd would get behind her. It was just, that's one that kind of shocked me. And then obviously Baron Corbin, which, Pluggo talked about it. We had the privilege to meet him and interview him at SummerSlam. And you want to talk about a personable, great dude.
Super
my God, I was so impressed.
One of the things when we went there, one of the things was well, people understand, it's not like it's a very complex gimmick between two beards, right? Yeah. But will the wrestlers pick up on it? And immediately Bailey did. And then the other one that really gravitated towards it was Corbin. Immediately, we're Pluggo, we're JPJ between two beards, and immediately starts massaging our. He's right away. He's like, I love beards, and I'm like, and then he just got it, and he just had so much fun with it, and he was the coolest guy. And he's a guy that I thought 1,000% in my heart of hearts that he was going to be a lifer.
A lifer for sure.
Because say what you want about him, as he got saddled with a lot of bad gimmicks, but he also got saddled with a lot of gimmicks. They always defaulted we'll throw Corbin in there. He'll figure it out. He'll make it work for better or worse, right? Some things work, some things didn't. So I was there's always that dependable guy that anytime he wanted. Then he goes down to NXT. They heat him up. Tag team champions with Braun Breaker. He helps. He has to, he's down there mentoring Braun, who's new. I just thought that's a guy you have. And I don't know. So maybe it was an amicable split. Maybe he thought, listen, I want to do more. I still got more to give than being in the mentor role. So I'll be interested to see when he does his first interview, if he'd like to do it right here between two beards.
Yeah,
we're the Angle podcast.
Yeah, whatever. And you said it, Joey.
One big joint interview.
Yeah.
And you said it, Joey. He did get a lot of gimmicks, and a lot of the gimmicks were not the greatest, some of them, but he made all of them work.
Eric, we are not charging Corbin for beard massages.
No, he's a big fella.
And wrestling laws, welcome to the chat. What's up, friend? Welcome in. New friend here.
Yeah, Baron Corbin is a former NFL player, so you can imagine he is a big guy. He's one of those guys to me where I agree with Pluggo. I think I had him penciled in as a lifer. I thought for sure. I'm this is a guy you can throw at any level on the card, anywhere, any show. He's going to get a reaction from the crowd, and he's going to make his opponent look good, or he's going to look, that's what's going to happen. And I feel like Corbin is going to be a guy that I don't know if he'll ever get properly appreciated. No. For how long he was there and how much good stuff he did. One of the coolest move sets you'll ever see.
One of the best finishers.
I was going to say one of the most protected and best finishers of the last 15 to 20 years. One guy kicked out of it. And he was the last guy before Roman lost to Cody that had a pinfall victory over Roman in 3 or 4 years. He was pushed down our throat a lot. With some terrible stuff. The dog food stuff with Roman before the pandemic wasn't good. The McMahons literally came out on an episode of Raw and blamed him for the ratings decrease. If people remember that. They literally blamed him.
I was I know this is storyline, but those McMahons were nah, this is we're blaming
you. He made himself homeless.
Yeah. Bum-ass Corbin, happy Corbin
is really where I think he started winning over the fans.
Listen,
that was really where the fans were
that picture of him with the Money in the Bank briefcase that's been circulating over the last week since he got released is how a lot of us have felt at one point of our lives. I'm sure we're just oh God, I have to do this today. He just always did so well, and it's just a bummer. But again, I hope whatever he decides to do next is what he wants to do, and I can't imagine anybody would say no to signing him if he was interested in signing. I know that the WWE guy to AEW, so I could see him going to Impact though.
You know what it is?
He could walk right into Impact and probably be in the title picture, I'd imagine.
It's not obviously it's not a great thing when people get released.
No.
Even if it's people that you don't necessarily care to see or whatever, you kind of get pissed off because you're why? This is $1 billion company. I understand cuts and whatever, but at like right before the holidays too. Like why, right? But
Right, always on a Friday before the show too. It's always
when it's a pre-tape show. Like why you know they're going to be on the show. Wait till after. So like
it's just weird.
Let them go with their dignity, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also like you get pissed off because it's people that you know can be used creatively. Like I can give you right now 5 storylines, literally 5 storylines for each of those 3 that could easily work. And you're going to tell me a room full of creative writers from Marvel and other, Oscar-worthy films and TV shows, whatever, can't come up with something for these people. I think a big problem is not the wrestlers themselves. I think it's the creative team, because if you look at who WWE has in their creative room, these are sitcom writers. These are movie writers. They're not wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2 of them are to lead them to the water.
Yeah.
But they're not wrestling fans. So they're not writing from a sense of what the wrestling fan would want. They're leaning on social media and they're leaning on ratings to see what works and what doesn't work.
Well, that's like the whole release day, like you said, like the reason that we as fans or as people in this space get so attached to them, because they are characters and we can see the value in it. Like people go, what happens in NFL all the time? I don't see you complaining about Joe Schmo getting cut from the Patriots, JPJ's team. But that's
cut
because
the whole team, dude.
Well, like what I'm saying is like you can either catch a football or you can't. Yeah. But you're telling me that Ricochet can't wrestle. Like I could see it, right? So Bobby Lashley can't perform. Like it's such a weird dynamic with certain wrestling fans that are like, "Well, it happens all the time. Why are you so upset about it?" It's like because you can see, like you said, Baron Corbin is talented. It just for whatever reason didn't work. Tegan Knox, I feel bad for Tegan, especially because she did rehab so much. And it was kind of this thing where it's like every time she got going, she got hurt again. And it just became like, we can't.
She got it twice. She got the same treatment twice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and then you're like, well, why aren't they doing stuff with Tegan? And it's like, it was just a bummer because she's very good at what she does.
Oh, yeah.
And Indy, I think of the 3 of them, had the most potential because she could do Corbin. What she was like, she could be the female Corbin in the sense. So you put her in comedy, you put her in serious stuff. Yep. She could do it all. They just for some reason they just didn't see it, and I don't know. So
Tegan Knox, they could have easily paired her with Dakota Kai, do something with them, let them hold the women's tag team titles because we know there's not enough women's tag teams in WWE. Right. Could have taken Dakota Kai, even anything. You could even put Tegan Knox with Damage Control, and then kind of turn the story where Tegan Knox wants to leave Damage Control, and now Dakota Kai is stuck in the middle. Like, who does she choose? Her best friend from forever, or Damage Control, who helped her, come back to WWE.
Yeah.
Let her go off with Tegan, do a heel, a tag team, face or heel or both at one point,
Yeah. And
then have them feud together. We never got a payoff from that time in NXT where Dakota turned on her.
Oh, one of the all-time great heel turns that. Yeah.
No.
And same thing goes for Indy. Like Indy could have done something really fun with she was kind of doing that storyline with Candice where she didn't want to turn heel, but she felt like she was forced to. Mm-hmm. Indy, it may be a bad take or whatever, but Indy kind of got that Karrion Kross treatment where like they made her a champion in NXT. Mm-hmm. She was a big deal in NXT. They moved up to the main roster and she just did nothing.
Yeah, just sat there.
And she just lost.
Yeah.
Or lost or wasn't anywhere on the show.
Yep.
And she won that title, and it was like
she won that title,
and then they immediately called her up, and then they were like, it was like, oh, Indy, we're gonna cook with Indy, and then we didn't. Eric said Corbin in GCW. I wonder if it could work. Absolutely.
He's a bare knuckle fighter, so I can
absolutely.
And I know he mentioned like in interviews and stuff, he had mentioned interest in like blood sports and things like that as well. I could easily see him.
If his contract expired, he doesn't have a 90-day non-compete clause.
No, he can go right now.
He can go right now.
Guess what's coming up at the end of the month? Bloodsport.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked, even if he doesn't have a match, maybe. But if he shows up, like for the next, like he shows up somewhere and he's like, on the next one, I'm
Hell,
doing like,
MVP showed up in Bloodsport.
Yeah,
He's
that's what I'm
wrestling on
saying.
this thing.
Justin,
I think Corbin could work absolutely in GCW. Bloodsport or not, I think he absolutely could figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Cardona made it work. He
Yeah.
could do the, maybe not the Cardona thing, but the XWW guy coming in and people being like, "Oh, you coming in here?" And then he does one death match, and we're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Deathmatch Corbin, let's roll.
Yeah, Dustin says he thinks Corbin might take the route of Dijak or Mustafa Ali have done and just kind of go, anywhere and everywhere. He's a very likable guy. I could see that. I think that's kind of what we've seen with these bigger names that do get released. They kind of, I think nobody's really done it to the level that Mustafa Ali did it, the way he kind of presented himself, like just incredible. But we're seeing Dijak really show up kind of everywhere. He's having some good stuff going on. I think all three of them could go anywhere and succeed. They are all three at that level of talent.
Ali's the blueprint.
I think Ali was the blueprint.
You go and like sow your wild out, so to speak, and you wrestle everywhere and you make it a big deal. And then you find a promotion that suits you, right? Like Cardona did it too when he left. It's like, I'm going to wrestle everywhere. I'm going to dip my toe into these other promotions. And then I'll sign a contract and Impact, or that, that way they don't just rush right into the AEW contract. We'll just use that as an example and go, oh shit, I'm stuck here for 3 years now. Granted, AEW will let you do independent stuff to an extent and whatnot, but let's see what's out there. So I would love the Baron Corbin, Tegan Knox, Indy Hartwell World Tour in 2025, and then they settle down wherever.
I have a hot take on Baron Corbin, and I don't know if you guys will like it or if your child.
Well, we'll tell you if we don't. I'm just kidding. we might. No.
You said earlier, and it makes a lot of sense. You guys thought that Corbin would be a WWE lifer.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like that because he wasn't a wrestler before this. He was a football player. And he got put in NXT and he got in the best shape of his life. He learned all these different things that he may have not learned before. Really, where WWE and NXT was his only experience in wrestling. Mm-hmm. Same thing goes for Braun Strowman. That happened to Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman said he would never wrestle anywhere else when he got released. To be honest with you, I don't think Corbin's going to wrestle.
Fair. That's fair.
I think he's going to take a break.
You don't remember Braun Strowman controlling his narrative?
Yeah, exactly my point. He said he was, and then he went and did that thing.
Yeah, sure did. He sure did. You don't have to go see it, people. You don't have to. It's fun.
Yeah. Don't search it out.
So hard. Whatever his name was.
Yeah.
But honestly, Baron Corbin, if you follow him on social media, you can see he loves being home. He loves being with his family. Mm-hmm. He loves cooking his meat, and he loves his coffee business. And he seems very content. You don't see him like making these promos on social media, like use me, like other people do. He just seems very like laid back, and he loves his life in Florida. And I think that he's kind of just enjoying himself right now. And if WWE decides to call him back, which maybe they can, because again, he wasn't released. His contract expired, which means
Becky Lynch's contract expired too. Just throwing that out there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, they could have done so much with him. I think the Wolf Dog on the main roster is such
incredible.
A lost opportunity. You could have easily put him with Braun Breaker and then kind of lead to this thing where Braun wants to be a singles guy and you lead to a feud with Baron Corbin and then you lead him to the Intercontinental title. Mm-hmm. That could have been like a whole 7-month thing with those two. You make them tag team champions, build Braun up like they were doing in NXT, and have him just fade out where they feud, and now he goes after a title instead of just.
I'm actually surprised they didn't even have Braun or Baron Corbin like interact with Braun and be like, "What are you doing, dude?" Like, and then he just beats the brakes off of Corbin in a quick like 2 or 3 match feud.
Something
you know what I mean?
At the same time, to different rosters. Corbin got put on SmackDown. He got put on. Well, Braun got put on SmackDown and then drafted to Raw.
They had this whole thing where they were trying to win the services of Braun Breaker. Yeah. SmackDown wins the services, and then 3 weeks later he gets drafted to Raw. Well, what the hell?
And all this is just like whatever. I mean, you made a big deal about it.
You have 5 weeks of segments.
Listen, it's wrestling. You just forget about it.
Unbelievable. Anyway, but I agree, and it's like, and even in the room, when we were at Corbin at one point, Braun Breaker came in on the second group, and Corbin was still there, and you could see they were constantly interacting with each other. Like in between interviews, they were yelling at each other, saying,
I think he even cracked one of Braun's interviews.
Yeah, Corbin went over and
cracked.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, so that bond and that friendship and their opinions, like that was still there. That could have easily worked on the main roster. And I didn't even dislike the stuff that Corbin was doing with Apollo Crews. I thought they were having some good tag matches, and Corbin was doing, it wasn't my favorite thing, but it was better that, I didn't hate it. Like Corbin's doing dives over the top rope and stuff, like doing things we never seen him do before.
The same thing happened with Apollo Crews. He was cooking in NXT, and they put him on the main roster and disappeared. What was the point of calling him up?
Yeah,
they do that too much. They did that for a while. They call you up, then realize that you screwed it up, and then they bring you back. But by that time, it's too late. Like there's, the proper call ups are starting to happen now, which I love. Wrestling Laws, I love it. I don't want to leave you on red, so to speak, but I admittedly am not sure what that is.
Yeah,
Lucha Apocalypse. I'm not sure what that is. As much as I follow the indie scene, I'm not much into the lucha scene as just should be. So I apologize, but we appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure.
You come here, you ask us questions, we'll answer if we can.
Yeah.
If not, then we'll just tell you we're dumb. Well, I'll tell you I'm dumb.
Yeah. So like we said the whole time, always unfortunate when people obviously get released, lose their job, stuff like that. But those three should be more than fine with whatever they decide to do.
Wish them the best.
We always wish him the best, and like you mentioned the barbecue stuff with Corbin, like he could easily create his own online.
That Chef Reacts beef he had last year was awesome.
He could easily make that his thing if he really wanted to. He's charismatic, he's personable, he cooks good food. If you've seen those videos, like he could easily do things outside of wrestling and stuff like that.
We'll stop before we change topics. Full stop. We'll set the tone.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin, if you decide to start your own cooking show, your own barbecue show, us three guys right here.
Yeah.
Taste testers.
Do a show.
100%.
Invite us to Tampa.
We'll be in. We're in.
Do a barbecue, drink your coffee. We
got you. We
us.
will fly down.
He dug us. He might have. He did say that if we didn't have to go somewhere after the presser, that we could have went to the bar. And
we actually he did full shoot. He's like, come hang out at the bar with us.
Like,
and we're like, we gotta go to Pre's.
I dead looked at PLUGGO and I went,
because we were.
It's our first time doing this.
We didn't want to snub people. That
and we have to go to the Priest thing is right after. Like we were late for it. Because it was.
I was too. I had to run to my Uber and just get over there quickly.
100%. So we're like that, and he says that to us, and I look at PLUGGO and I go, "All right,
are we gonna
go? How bad of a look is it if we don't even show up to the Priest thing? We just go drink some beers."
And nobody knew anything.
No,
there was no check-in, nothing.
No, because in my brain, I'm like, we're on a list. If we don't show up, they're going to be like, these ungrateful.
The guys are like, just sit over there.
We're going to screw it up. We're going to screw it up if we don't show up. We're on a list. They know.
Meanwhile, it's a dark room. They're not checking anybody. No one knows if the three of us weren't there.
No.
So listen, Baron, that kind of, if you think about it, Baron, you owe us a beer, but we'll buy. I'll buy.
I'll buy. I got no problem. I'll buy. But
yeah, so we're like, oh god, we just got all this praise at this media event.
We were so scared that
we just snub them.
We're gonna screw it up for the rest of the site when they want to go other places, and they're gonna be like these ungrateful websites.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
They're never getting access again.
Guys with the beards, those guys.
Those guys. Yeah, they didn't even show up.
Spencer already can't stand us because we spend all this money. Could you imagine if we got him barred for future events because we went drinking with Baron Corbin?
You can send them the tab.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, sorry, boss. We didn't go to that Damian Priest live screening because we ended up at a bar.
Listen, all right. He invited us. I was like, I looked dead at PLUGGO. I'm like, we should go with him. We should go with him.
Wherever he's going.
And then we were like, we were.
Listen, think about it now. If you guys would have gone, you probably would get that first interview.
That's what I'm saying.
First leaving WWE.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
See,
he would have been like those two guys at the bar. We'd been like, yeah.
We should have talked to you first.
I know. It's okay.
Guided us in the right direction.
Yeah. Over the weekend, though, we did have a WWE PLE from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It was Crown Jewel. So let's dive into that a little bit.
And
I'm
just gonna go on a limb here and say we don't have to dive too deep.
Oh,
Very surface level PLE.
You think?
Let me ask you guys first.
Yes,
you guys enjoy the Saturday PLEs at like 1 in the afternoon?
100%.
I love afternoon wrestling. I'm good with it. I love it.
I'm old and I have 4 kids, man.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love if I had to choose, Saturday night would be my number 1 in the power rankings.
Same.
I would do Saturday night.
I like Saturday night.
Saturday afternoon, Sunday night would probably be my top 3.
I can't stand a Sunday night.
And you're on the East Coast. You're in the Jersey area.
Let me rephrase that. I can't stand a Sunday night AEW show because they go till midnight. But
when it's 12:30 and we're still doing it, and I got to wake up for work.
But it's not because they're bad.
No, it's not because they're bad. But it's like, come on, man. We got to wake up.
No, I that feeling of the adrenaline you feel after it ends.
Yes.
And you're like, I can't sleep now.
Well,
that's the thing.
And you're because if you're like us, we're tweeting about it, we're doing all this, we're making content, we're thinking about things.
We're thinking about,
what are we going to talk about? 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're just like.
But then Saturday during the day, it's like you lose 1 day of your weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I kind of like it though because it does usually, and this is actually a pretty good segue because there was some news that came out today that said next year. Yep. When WWE is in England, Netflix is showing those live. They're not tape delaying them. So on those Mondays, the show's going to start at noon.
Raw.
Monday,
12 Monday.
Noon Raw.
Who's ready?
Unbelievable.
Who's ready for some afternoon Monday Raw?
Like. Well, no, half of us aren't
going to have to take the day off. Yeah.
Think about it. If 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago, 2 years ago, would you think a Monday Night Raw airing live in the afternoon on Netflix?
Yeah.
No. But that's actually, if you think about it, right, that's actually smart because this past week is a great example. SmackDown was taped. Raw was taped. A lot of your content creators and a lot of your they just said, I'm not going to, why, it's already spoiled. Yeah. So why react to it? Why, maybe I'll take this night off. So now you're telling me if you want to watch it, you got to be there at noon. If you want to be live with it, everybody's going to get to see it. Granted, Netflix is a different vibe. You can watch it whenever you want. But yeah, I think that's smart. I'm surprised they've not done anything like that before with is it really that big a deal to to air it on the USA Network at noon? What do they got going on at noon on the USA Network?
SVU reruns?
SVU, marathons?
Exactly. Suits?
Some soccer game that's going on? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. I think think it's fantastic that that's an option now. But I still watch the show. I'm dumb though. I don't watch, not because I avoid spoilers. If I see one, I'm fine with it. It's wrestling. I still love to see how they got there. But I'm not kidding. I'm tweeting Monday and people are like, that ain't happening. I'm like, Dom's winning this thing, right? They're like, no,
it's hilarious. Hilarious.
Everybody's like, no.
I hate that people spoil it, where they spoil the whole thing with Roman and the Usos a week before it happens, or with Raw. Honestly, it's what do you really need those clicks on your profile of 100 followers?
Yeah. If I post some fake news by accident, if I get duped like Meltzer got duped this week, because I did too, because I looked at Dave's page, was like, Dave said it, so it's got to be true. Tokyo.
Are you going to Tokyo?
Right. I'll delete that. I will, because I'll be like, okay, that's just not something. But if I watch a pre-record and I didn't see the spoilers, I'll let it sit there and be like, listen, this is what I wanted.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Pluggo goes right on there Monday.
He just gets flamed.
He goes, if Dom doesn't win this thing, what are we doing? And I didn't know this.
I won. He beat Damian Priest the week before.
I agree. I wanted to.
And everybody's like, about that. I'm like, shit.
Yeah. The match though, if Dom would have won, I've obviously seen Gunther versus Dom before, but to build him up as he earned that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then he comes close to beating Gunther. It would have been hysterical.
Yeah, I think so.
Just annihilates him.
Yeah, it would have been fantastic. I think that I don't think this is going to happen until next year. But I think that I think Dom has got to the level. He still gets the liquid heat, right? But now the liquid heat is out of respect. I think a lot of it is out of respect.
Yeah.
As opposed to early on where it was like, you kind of stink.
Yep.
We don't like you.
I
now
didn't
everybody
like him
knows
when he first got in there. I was like,
exactly.
This is like a kid. He doesn't even look like a wrestler. Like he's just
And he's gotten better, way better. And he's really, really good. And it's one of those things where it's been a few years. We've lived with him for a few years now. We've seen everything. And I think now he still gets that hate because people hate the character because he's good now. I think he's going to be a massive babyface at some point next year. Because I think we find out that Liv and Finn were using him as a pawn kind of thing.
I would love to see Finn leave the group because it looks like where it's going. Like Finn and JD leave, or Finn and JD and Carlito. I don't know. You have Finn and JD leave, and then you have Dom be the leader now of the Judgment Day with Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Carlito. And you do like a storyline within a storyline where like Carlito is trying to date Raquel. Like Raquel is like playing this a China role where she's like, hell no.
Get away from me. Yeah.
And then eventually they get together and they both turn babyface. They go off and do their own thing. But in the meantime, have Dom win the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, he should.
Be like a dominant faction or dominant cornerstone of Raw, where they bring that sex appeal that people were looking for with, being a relationship and the whole thing that they have, the Latino heat thing they have. For the Netflix era, let that be a thing. Put the title on him and let them just go and see what happens. And then eventually have him turn babyface because everyone left him.
That'd be nice. I'd be all right with that. I'd be all right with that. I do think now. I just think, I think it's at the point now that I think he would work as a babyface and he would be mega over. I think the crowd, if presented properly, the crowd would flip and they would go, you know what? We're behind the kid. We like him. And stuff like that.
But he survives on his own, or do you think he has to be in a group?
Well, Dustin smart, he even said, if and when Dom turns face, do you see him doing it alone or with someone else?
Hugs his dad in the middle of the ring.
I want to see him go and run the LWO and then eventually fade off onto his own.
Yeah, that would be a good way to kind of circle it back, somehow before Ray retires, whenever that is, they have that moment again, although Dom has been such a piece of shit for years now.
You do it where if Mysterio or if Ray loses, he retires. And you do it where Dominic finally beats Ray clean, but it's like a respectable moment where he passes the baton to Dom. Now Dom is you build him up as a babyface in that feud.
Yeah.
And then that's the moment where Dom is finally a babyface and he takes over the Mysterio.
I would be on that.
That would be the moment where it's like, all right, damn.
Yeah, this is the dude. This is the dude. That'd be fun.
Because he hasn't beaten Ray clean yet.
No.
So that's what they're waiting for too.
And I still and I think it's going to be Ray's last match probably. Yeah. I still think we're heading towards whenever it's Ray's last match, it's going to be him and Dom, and it's probably going to be at a Mania because that's what is deserving of it.
Yep.
And I
then
think
the cinnamon toast crunch Rey Mysterio farewell match.
Exactly. Yeah. But when it's the real one, you have to, I think that's a good way to do it. You have Dom finally beat him clean, or maybe if Dom is still part of a group or something like that, they try to interfere and Dom says, no, get out of here. This is between me and him. And he finally beats him clean. And then maybe Ray being a dad afterwards is like, hey, all right.
It's just like the story arc of It's the story arc of Hot Rod.
Yeah. Something Hot Rod. Yeah, Hot Rod.
You want me to respect you? I'm gonna beat your ass, and then you'll respect me, Frank.
That is one of that I would say. All right, I would say Hot Rod is probably. I went into watching that movie with absolutely zero expectations because it looked just dumb.
It is,
and it is. But when I was watching it the first time, I was like, "This might be one of the funny. This might be
It's so good.
If not one of the 3 funniest movies I've ever seen. I laughed from the second it started to the second it ended, and I had no expectations that it would be that funny.
That's the best way to go into a movie, though.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That movie is so
Don't
good.
ever sneak up on a man who's been in a chemical fire.
That is such a good movie.
You get better, you sack of shit, so I can beat your ass.
Saying what's
I'm going to get you that heart.
Yeah. I go to church every Sunday. Look what you're making me do. All right. The cast, though. Bill Hader, Andy Samberg, Danny McBride. Get out of here. Those 3 are unbelievable. Okay.
Crown Jewel, huh?
Yeah. Listen, Joey, this is what you get when you're with us. We go everywhere.
It's fine. I love it this way.
We go everywhere.
If you thought you were coming on some serious podcast, well, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah. Ryan's, so PLUGGO hasn't seen a lot of movies. So
that's not true. Hot Rod is I've seen that 1,000 times.
But I think this is Ryan making fun of you because you sometimes will mention movies. Yeah. You know what movie I watched the other night, actually, before we actually talk about Crown? Pineapple Express.
Oh, classic.
Unbelievable. It had been a few years since I
Sir, did you see that Seth and James Franco, like they're not friends?
Yeah. Well,
Franco's
James
a bit of a
Franco kind of turned out to be shitty.
Yeah, some things.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that movie, though,
sir, I feel like I'm just a dab of melted butter. This stuff is great. Why aren't we talking about this?
That's fantastic. If you haven't seen that in a while, go watch it again, because I
don't
watched
like that movie. You don't like comedy.
It's just tremendous. Craig Robinson in that movie.
But up here trying to get a motherfucking scholarship.
So I synced it. All right. So show opens with the Bloodline. Solo and his Bloodline versus Roman and the Usos. I thought it was a solid match. They kind of, at the beginning, Jay wasn't tagging Roman in, and he was kind of like, and then it built to Jay having to give the hot tag to Roman and stuff like that. I went into this match, Joey, expecting Solo in the new Bloodline to win. I did not expect Solo to pin Roman Reigns clean, kind of. There was some bullshit.
Twice, right?
But he pinned him. Yeah. Yes.
Roman man do it in the last hour.
It's true. He did actually pin him twice because there was a horrendous ref mistake or some mistake. Yeah. But I did not expect, and I guess it makes the most sense moving forward, I guess. I did not expect Solo to just spike him and pin him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring like that, Roman. I did not see that coming. I was not shocked about the result, but shocked about the way the result occurred.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated the whole thing. Yeah. I hated the whole damn thing. You know what it is? The show that match is that was a serious match that clearly with what we saw at the end deserved like major attention. I'm not saying it should have main evented at all. I would have switched the order of the show because the crowd was horrible. The crowd was silent for them. You know, Sami Zayn came out and that whole thing happened, and the crowd was like had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
that was like one of the biggest moments that should have been since WrestleMania 40. You know, and it was a dull moment because the crowd was just not into it because of the placement on the card. They should have put the women's tag team title match,
which ruled.
That was a banger match, and it got the crowd on their feet and going. Then have that match because now they're already hyped up. Continue with that match. Plus, you know what happened with Roman getting pinned twice, and it just didn't feel. You know, they built Roman up as the OTC and all this stuff, and then Solo, who's been on a losing streak, just comes in and pins him like as if he was not Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like how is it believable now that Roman is on this new path of regaining his place as the OTC and the WWE champion when he just lost 2 times in the same match?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have to do some work tomorrow on SmackDown to have that conversation. Sammy's gonna get involved, obviously based on what we saw Monday. But just from Roman's perspective, are you gonna chalk it up to ring? I mean, I know you just had the match at Bad Blood with Cody, but and I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make this new bloodline be as formidable as the old one.
It's not.
But But it's not, but there should have been miscommunications. They finally got back together, but at the same time, it just didn't look right. It just didn't feel right. It felt like if you're gonna do all of these bloodline shenanigans all the time, like you're accustomed to doing, and then this was the one time you were like, "Nah, we're good. We're just gonna do a clean finish." It's like, wait, what? Give me something. But hey,
all of the Tonga guys that came in, Tonga Loa and Tonga Tamba, whatever the hell the names are anymore, keep counting more. They came in and they weren't like a legitimate threat, which they have been their entire careers elsewhere. God, the Gorillas of Destiny are like, that was a dream tag team to come to WWE, and they got there and it was just like, what the hell was going on?
Yeah, it wasn't until Jacob Fatu showed up that the bloodline kind of elevated to a different thing, and that was because Jacob Fatu is he's legit. Just on a different level, and and he shouldn't be, because like you said, Gorillas of Destiny, one of the best tag teams in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of the best tag teams in the world.
Yeah,
and they came here
with the Usos on a WWE pay-per-view. That was a huge moment, and technically they weren't in the ring because Tonga Loa was not even in the match.
Yeah,
but just outside of that, like to have Roman take the pin there, like they should have had some mishap where like Roman and Jay couldn't get on the same page, and then Jay gets rolled up. Yeah. And that's how they lose. Now you can continue the story where they actually need to really try to get on the same page.
Yeah.
Everything feels rushed, and just that match.
Or if you're going to do Roman, have Roman get rolled up and it be Jay's kind of fault. And then you go, what the hell's going on Friday? Then we have something to talk about.
Yeah. But now Sammy's the one trying to like get everybody in line. And like, then it would make sense.
I want to zoom out from this particular match to kind of this story. Here a little bit, because Joey, you just said something. You said it feels rushed. Now, we all, as wrestling fans in our fantasy booking minds, and we all knew, hey, Survivor Series, it's going to be War Games, and it's going to be Roman and old bloodline versus.
By the way,
we all knew
Regal needs to come out and say that at least
100%.
One time.
We all knew what the end game was here, right? And I'm still excited that we're getting that match at Survivor Series in a few weeks. It's going to rule. It's going to be great. I feel like this whole thing, with specifically since Jay had it should have taken longer.
Yes.
It should have started earlier, and it should have taken longer. You have Jimmy show up on Raw where Jay doesn't even want to talk to him, literally avoiding him and saying, "Get out of my face." And then 5 days later, Jay shows up on SmackDown and is dapping up Jimmy in the back of
what happened over the last year.
And it's like, what? I know they're brothers. I get it. They're twins. That's a bond I get that. What? And then all of a sudden he's no yeet with Roman. And then the next Friday on SmackDown, that is not enough time. That is not enough time. And another thing, and we'll find out tomorrow, because on Raw after this, we saw this was actually a great segment on Raw. I liked the segment with Sammy.
That one I liked.
It was really good. And it was a really good segment. And Sammy, they called him Sammy Uso, and Jay and Jimmy and that. They invited him to SmackDown tomorrow, and we're getting the Roman Sammy thing tomorrow. I have felt like, specifically with Jay and Sammy, I felt like Roman should have apologized. And I feel like
OTCs don't apologize. They did what they had to do.
No, this right with happening right now is not making me feel oozy at all.
Yeah, I just feel like Roman came back. He's a baby face. We're seeing him vulnerable, really vulnerable for the first time in years, right? It should be more of him,
He's the one who needs help from Jay.
Yes, he's the one that should need the help, not everybody coming to his aid. Yeah, he should be the one going to Jay and saying,
and if you're gonna do the resistance thing
about what happened, but
let him be even more defiant, to the point where you could have do something with one of the the Samoan dynasty ancestors and be like, put your pride aside, get this done. But instead it was like, I don't need him. 2 weeks later I need him. Okay. Yeah, we're here. Have Roman be super defiant, but still angle until he's and then it becomes this huge moment when they embrace. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
About it, Roman really messed Jay up. Think about it. Put yourself in that position with a family member. If you went through that with somebody, you would be like, hell no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Why not even build it to a match between Roman and Jay so they get it out of their system? You know, somewhere between Crown Jewel and Survivor Series. Do it on a SmackDown or whatever the hell. Roman versus Jay. And now you got like Jimmy on Roman's side and Sammy on Jay's side. And you build it, at least this is how I would do it, fantasy booking 101, I guess. Build it to, you get to Survivor Series without Jay agreeing to be on their team. And at Survivor Series, Jay makes the surprise, like he's the fourth guy to their team at Survivor Series. Like have the OG bloodline go in it as Roman, Jimmy, and Sammy. And Jay's like, I don't want any of this until he sees what's happening at War Games. And then he comes and makes the save. And then you get that embrace and you have that whole thing. Like it just, they had a little bit more time to build it out.
Yeah.
To we really felt like the Saudi prince was like, we want this match here.
That's probably what it was, to be honest.
Yeah, like you know, I get it's only a few months ago, but Roman came back at SummerSlam, so that was the beginning of August.
Yeah,
you had time, and I get it. Like the stuff they did with the IC title and Jay, like that needed to happen for Jay and that character. He needed to win the big one and get a title.
You know, we didn't need the Cody stuff yet.
Agreed.
That's what it. That's waited to like Mania time, like switched it. You know,
100%. Last month should have been Roman and Jimmy in that match, and the bloodline should have been kicking the shit out of them after that match. And that's when Jay should have came out and helped.
That whole thing with Roman and Cody on the football field, that could have led to a huge
It was cool. Yeah, it could have been a cool
match. That match at the Rumble or something.
And I think that should be Cody's Rumble. Because the Roman Cody thing, we're getting a rematch at some point. Roman deserves a rematch.
Yeah.
And you know, I know they don't do that anymore, but if anybody deserves a rematch ever, it's Roman. He held the belt for 4 friggin' years. You know? So
Netflix is requesting Roman.
Maybe it's the first night of Netflix. Maybe that's the main event of the first night of Netflix is Roman and Cody. That would be gigantic.
I have I'll break it to you here because I've been on I don't know if you guys have kept up with my social media at all, but I've been on a little break from wrestling content. We talked about way at the beginning burnout. Yeah. I've been burnt out since before SummerSlam. And I got to the point where I was just like, I hate this. I've never said that in my life. I hate wrestling. I hate content creation. No one's emailing me back. Like I was just on a whole negative spiral. Took like 3 weeks off. I'm finally back making content. And the first thing I did was like 2 days ago, really, since I've been like back in content creation mode. I am making a whole video and social media content. Why Roman Reigns should be moved to Raw and win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. All right.
I don't know who it would be against, if it's Gunther or Seth. But Roman wins the world title at WrestleMania. And
Gunther and Roman would rule.
Gunther and Roman would be a banger.
Oh, my God.
You have Roman versus Drew McIntyre for the world title. Roman versus Seth Rollins for the world title. Roman Reigns versus anybody on Raw.
CM Punk.
CM Punk. And then on the SmackDown side, you do The Rock versus Cody for the WWE title. Roman wins the world title. Rock wins the WWE title, and you build to Survivor Series, brand versus brand, Roman versus Rock. All year long, that's what you know you're going to. Like the whole year is just based off that.
Yeah, your door just, I love when that door.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Lose in the house.
Lose come to party. Hey, man.
See, even the best content creators get burnt out. I appreciate you saying that. I've learned recently that it is okay to take days off. I'm okay. Wrestling will be there tomorrow. That's what I do now. I just go, you know what, I'm taking the day. But no, that's awesome. Go check that out. That if that video says open, probably more in depth than you gave us because you don't want to give us all the meat of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I love the fantasy booking stuff just because
I was gonna say
I love the creative side of wrestling, but also like I'm so passionate about wrestling. So it's like, what do I want to see as a fan?
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of like the basis of all my content, really.
Yeah.
That's how it should be with all of them. I know that there's wrestling fans that are super analytical and that's not possible because of this, but it's like it's so much fun to go, that would be crazy cool if it happened because that's the fun of it.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is I've already started like within the last month, kind of ironing out my way too early WrestleMania card for next year. And like, I'm thinking about, I haven't talked to PLUGGO about it yet, so we'll talk about it right on the air. But I'm like, hey, there's no real PLE in December. We should have like a beard special and try to get some friends and like, let's all go over our way too early WrestleMania card or something like that. I just
like a round table prediction.
Yeah, like a round table of like, hey, all right, let's try to.
Well, it sounds like Joey, you're in because you're on air with us while we're talking about it.
Something like
that'd be really shitty if he was like, I have this killer idea, but listen, could you just go out of the room for a minute while I talk about it?
Yeah, no, but it's one of those things where I think that fantasy that comes with the territory. If you're a diehard of anything, really, but if you're a diehard wrestling fan, like, oh, that's too many.
This just in.
I thought you were higher than that. That number's low. Okay.
She gave one away last year, so that she gave one to her friend last year that needed a tree. So
you guys do a lot of big Christmas things.
And then we acquired a tree that just turned out it wasn't as nice as we anticipated, so she went ahead and pitched it. So we now have 7.
So this has been a thing since the first year we did this. I found out the first year that we started in like, when did we start? May
3
or
years
June?
with
but like May or June, like we started middle of the year. We got to Christmas time, and PLUGGO informed me that he had 4 Christmas trees at the time. 4.
They were up in October.
They were up too early. We'll just leave it at that. They were up too early. I'm not
trying to. You and I are going to be good friends.
Oh,
yeah.
I was under the impression I said 4 is too many. That's too many Christmas trees. I was more upset that it was so early.
So here, real quick, because we're gonna go down this spiral, rabbit hole.
No, we're not.
So this is what happened. This is how this went down. So the boys are now the younger 2 boys. My older 2, everybody knows it's like has a different relationship, so they stay with their mom most of the time. And then so my younger 2 though, we decided to finally like split their room because they were sharing, and now they're of the age that they need their own space. So we're like, you know what? We'll take that spare room. It's now Owens. He goes, well, I don't have a tree in my room because he did last year because they had a room together. So now we had to go get him his own tree. And each tree has its own decorative theme. And Mrs. PLUGGO famously now will take pictures of each one and we'll post them on social media. So you'll see them. And JPJ, you are a Grinch, according to
I'm not a Grinch. I'm not a Grinch. I love Christmas.
So Joey, for best friends now, I love it because I need more people on my side with the 7 trees is not enough for
I will tell you, my family is obsessed with Christmas. My mom, by herself, I call her the queen of Christmas because she's already planning next year's theme for the tree. Now my parents' house, they put a tree in every room. So she's got a tree in the kitchen. She's already put it up, by the way. She put it up on Halloween night.
Nice.
She's got a kitchen tree. It's a 7-foot tall thing. It's all gingerbread theme. The living room got a 12-foot tree. That's Nutcracker theme. Every room gets one.
This is PLUGGO, and you are like, she's vibing right now. Look at her. Look at that.
Here we go. She wants more. Yeah.
She's
like, these are great ideas.
She's got, I think, maybe 7 or 8 trees up right now. Unbelievable. I put up my stuff yesterday. Because it's a known fact that if you decorate earlier, you end up being happier.
Well, listen. At the end of the day, people call me a Grinch. I still think it's too many trees. I still think it's too early. But if it makes you happy, do your thing. Whatever. It is.
I will say this, Mrs. PLUGGO. Again, you do whatever you want. You look like you look. I look how I look. You do whatever you want to do. I'm never going to say no, but we do have the open concept dining room / kitchen thing with like an island break, like a bar break. Do we have room for a tree in the kitchen?
Hey, I don't see one in your studio, and I know that WWE makes their own wrestling ornaments.
If she was here right now, she would make sure to bring down like a Christmas tree cup or mug or something.
My first year of podcasting, I did like a Christmas special. And I bought like a little tree and I put it in my room, and I had like the WWE Championship ornament hanging.
Oh, we got that. We got the Cena.
I spent like $100 on wrestling ornaments from WWE Shop, and great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got wrestling ornaments.
Well, Joe, it's official. You're welcome back here anytime.
I love it.
Yeah. Hey.
This is
Christmas
all
makes
over.
everyone happier.
Yeah.
Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, it's just
The holiday season. Is
the holiday
wonderful.
season.
It's
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fair.
So Crown Jewel, huh?
Crown Jewel.
Yeah. No. You
Tag
mentioned-
match was dope.
Yeah, you mentioned the 4-way for the tag titles with the ladies. That match was fantastic.
Best match of the night. It was.
I
Most
agree.
underrated.
I thought all 4 teams looked great. This was a match where any one of these teams could have won, and I would have been totally like, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
cool, I'm in on it.
I do know what they're doing with the titles. It makes
Yeah.
it's like.
And my thing is, I felt, and I still feel like that whenever Bianca and Jade lose this match, that's the end. Like they're gonna do theirs because that
They're
teasing
teasing it.
they
and they're
teased it
doing the
on
world
Monday.
title
Yes,
thing. Yeah,
on Monday they teased it in the battle royal.
That's
They
the
thought
only
crowd
thing
was
I don't
nuts.
like.
Yeah,
I had
I
tweeted
like-
it out during Raw when it wasn't live, but regardless, I was acting as if it were live.
yeah.
Yes.
I would love to see Bianca Belair turn heel in the Royal Rumble and eliminate Jade.
Mm.
And that starts their feud to WrestleMania because their feud, it's a big feud and it needs
is.
to be highlighted. And it should be a one-on-one match, no title, just a friend betrays a friend. You do it at WrestleMania.
I think they're not. I don't know because I feel like they're doing this thing again where they're mixing the women's tag titles with the world title picture with Liv and all that. It's like I can't. I mean, granted, I love what you're saying. I just don't know if they're not going to go. You know, let's give it to Bianca and have Jade win it at Mania.
Well, I think Liv and Raquel are.
I don't
the
know.
team that beats them for the belts. I think
if they
I think
beat
they're
them,
going to
it's kind
double
of-
strap.
If they beat him for the belts, then yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I could see them going. This is a huge match, and here's Jade for a world title. And then, but either way we shake it, it's going to rule.
I do think it should be Bianca that turns, though. I
I think
feel like
so.
it should be Bianca.
She's due for a turn, and she was a great heel in NXT. I don't think
Oh
a lot
my
of people
God, yeah.
remember that.
Mhm.
She was there for a while as a heel. She was only a heel.
Yeah,
Yep.
you don't even go here.
Yeah.
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 Such a
100%.
good line. Such a good line.
Seth Rollins defeated Bronson Reed in their match. Yep, it was a really, really good match. I wanted Reed to win,
Yeah.
but with kind of how the match ended and then what we saw on Monday, I had a feeling this
Not
wasn't-
over. It's
Yeah,
not over.
I didn't think this was a one and done anyway. I just thought that, I get it that Seth was just coming back from being out because of Bronson, but I just felt like
But what
a
happened
win
next? That's
would have
the
helped Bronson a lot more. Like Seth can lose and it doesn't matter. He's Seth Rollins. If Bronson
Wait,
beats Seth Rollins, that's a big deal.
And
a big
who do
deal,
who do you think? And I'll ask you both. Who do you think would have played the part of chasing the guy that they lost to? Like Seth not being able to get that win over Bronson and driving him crazy would have been awesome. Like Reed's gonna be fine with it, but like Reed going like, I want that win. I gotta have it.
Like we've
I
already
would've-
seen Bronson Reed destructing.
I would have
things,
loved
like
to see Seth not be
Yes.
able to figure out this monster and begging him to go give me one more at Survivor Series. Let's do it. No DQ, whatever it took. Like Seth begging him, and then Reed going, all right.
Well, I think and you kind of made a good point there. Like, I think that maybe they do a last man standing match next between the two. It kind of makes
Yeah.
it seem like that's where they're going. And it's not going to be on a PLE. It's going to be like on like a Raw or maybe Saturday Night Live that's coming up.
Yeah, the Saturday Night Man.
Saturday
Event would be good,
Night Saturday Night Main Event. Sorry.
yeah.
Tune in Saturday Night Live.
It's on
With your,
NBC. I
with
actually
your
think it's-
special guest host.
I think it's the lead-in actually, but
That'd
yeah.
be awesome.
Saturday Night Main Event, you do like a last man standing match between the two, and you have Bronson Reed win, and this can kind of start the heel turn of Seth Rollins because I know I'm going off topic here, but I think for the Netflix era, Seth needs to turn heel and just be a jerk,
Yeah.
and that leads to heel Seth Rollins versus a babyface CM Punk WrestleMania.
I think that's his Mania match. I think the Mania match is Punk and Rollins. They're trying to get there. I don't know right now. Again, like I said, I have this fantasy list over here. I don't have that for a title at Mania next year. It could be for one. I would understand it because I do think we're getting Punk and Gunther first. I don't know if they're going to give the title. I don't know if they're
They
going
said
to have.
Survivor Series, but that's kind of like close.
I found it very odd though because they had the 4-way on Raw, which Damian Priest won, and Tessitore specifically said he didn't give a date. He didn't give a time. He just said sometime in the future.
I think it's Saturday Night Main Event.
I think that makes sense.
That's the only other thing outside of Survivor Series.
Yeah, and if it's going to be
they do that Rumble, and I would kind of be way far.
Yeah, and if they're going to do like I think Punk and Gunther's a big match for Rumble. If you wanted to do that, like they're saying Survivor Series, but like Survivor Series is 2.5 weeks away. Like CM Punk needs to come back like Monday.
And him to come out and say, I want the world title next week. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't really know.
You were just fighting for a bracelet, bro.
Yeah, I don't really know what we're doing and stuff like that. Like, clearly Punk went away. Yeah, clearly Punk went away because he wasn't going to be a part of the Saudi show. He wasn't going to go to that, clearly. So that's why he went away injured, not knowing what his future holds and stuff like that. Yep. But he's definitely coming back soon. And the last time we saw him, he said for the second time, like, I'm coming back for gold. And he did that promo about Gunther a few months ago. That's where I assume they're going.
When is Survivor Series? What's the date on that?
29.
It's like the weekend. It's like
30?
It's like Thanksgiving weekend.
It's a Saturday of Thanksgiving.
And then the Saturday night main event is the 14th, right? Yeah, it's during the 14th. It's on the 14th. So that's what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, Saturday night main event is the 14th.
Does he need a match at Survivor Series?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
but then after Saturday night's main event, we have the Netflix on Raw debut, which I assume.
Could he call his shot? He could call his shot over Gunther and Priest and be like, I got next.
He could.
I think they need a big match for the Netflix debut.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. You obviously know we're going to have Cena there.
Of course.
I don't know. I think maybe the Mania match for the world title is Seth. Seth wins it at some point. He goes into WrestleMania as a champion. Defends against Punk and McIntyre.
That'd be all right.
Like a triple threat.
That'd be all right. Right now, this is how far off I am. I have John Cena winning the Royal Rumble, and I have him and Gunther.
I would love
at
it.
Mania for the title. And I have Cena beating him to beat Flair's record. I have Cena winning that title to beat Flair's record at Mania by beating Gunther.
Yep. And then he just does the whole year is him as champion. And when he loses that title, kind of like a Bryan Danielson thing, but a lot longer.
Yep. Something like that.
And he retires.
I don't know how you guys have that. I can't even see Cena.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know who Cena's last match will be against. A lot of people say Randy, which I think would be great. They've had a million. You have your laundry list of who we want Cena to fight next year. It's all the. Hey,
I don't think Roy needs it.
I don't think he does either.
I think you have to look at whoever retires.
Someone like a Braun Breaker or something like that. By the time we're talking end of next year, is Braun Breaker ready to be the guy that just ends Cena's career and that's it, or something like that?
The last Cena match is you have to book it as if you were booking who should end the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. Like who needs that big push?
Brock Lesnar, then.
Yeah, obviously Brock Lesnar. Yeah,
but that was their idea. I don't know what. I have a couple names in mind. I know we're off topic, but Braun Breaker's one. Drew McIntyre's one. That's a guy that would never let it down ever.
Mm-hmm.
He wins the world title finally, and he retires Cena. Like after everything he's been through, he earns that spot.
Yep.
I appreciate how nice you are every time you go. I'm so sorry for going off topic, and it's like
it's just who we are. That's just the show. That's just the show.
We're trying to talk.
We've been so on topic for. We've been being good today.
Whatever. Yeah, we're doing it. Right. I'm
we got a guest in the house. We got to behave.
Yeah, I know. I'm digging it.
There was one show we did a few months back where somebody literally in the comment section was like, the title is blah, blah, blah. You have not mentioned that at all. You're 2 hours in.
We were literally like, we usually try to go 8 to 10. Sometimes we have to
we went
usually
2.5 hours just to fit it in.
And it was like,
that's why I'm like that, because I do the same thing. And I'm like,
it was like, we were an hour and 50 minutes in, and the thumbnail that we had, they were like, are you going to talk about what's on the thumbnail? And me and Pluggo were like, oh shit.
Oh,
yeah.
Nope.
It's like, yeah, we will. Yeah.
I did a prediction show once that I invited somebody on. I said, okay, we're going to go like 30 minutes, the most 45. We went 2.5 hours.
Hell yeah. Yikes. Yeah. Hell yeah.
We do an NFL thing where we go live every Wednesday and we just kind of rank the NFL teams. And the thought process it was Pluggo's idea. It was a great idea. He goes, yeah, I'm thinking like 15 minutes. We get on there real quick.
15 minutes,
20 minutes, bang them out, do whatever. And I was like, well, you're with me. I'm not.
It's another an hour and a half.
Literally, they're like almost 90 minutes every week now. And the original thought was 15 quick hits, social media will get it out there. And it was like immediate after week 1, we were like, we're not getting it down to 15.
I get it.
Half hour, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Get off this topic. Oh,
Content creative problems.
Yeah, really, right? So then we had the first of the 2 women's crown jewel championship matches. It was Liv Morgan. It was Nia Jax. I went into this I was intrigued about how they were going to do this because both these characters are 2 hated heel characters on their respective shows, so it was a very much like a go away heat heel versus a go away heat heel. So I was interested to see how they did it. Obviously, Tiffany Stratton and the briefcase got involved. Raquel was out there, and that all ended towards the finish. The person who I thought was going to win did win. I did think Liv Morgan was going to win this match. They continued along kind of with Tiffany. I thought the promo they did with Tiffany, not when she kind of gave Nia Jax some stuff back a little bit. I thought that was like out of nowhere a little bit. Like we knew we were getting to that because Nia's been a bully
too. And I was like, what?
Yeah. So I was kind of like,
oh,
we're doing that now? We're doing that now?
Babyface.
Tom Mysterio. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Oh, that was the line that I was charred with, when she's like, I could use a little dirty in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's gross. But when she's giving Nia the business, I'm like, you get her, girl.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a disconnect with the Tiffany Stratton we had in NXT being this overly confident leader to now being under Nia and almost being like, she's kind of playing like stupid. Like she's like, I don't understand where the disconnect is, where she was like.
Plus, has Tiffany not watched any of the Alexa Bliss Nia Jax stuff?
Like,
come on now, Tim.
My thing is like, I think they've done it in a way that when Tiffany does cash in, like it's going to be a big, like it's going to matter. And she easily, everybody can see she's like a superstar in waiting.
Yeah. Do you think she's better as a babyface or as a heel?
I think she's a better heel, but I've really only seen her as a heel for the most part, but she's getting babyface reactions even as a heel. Yeah. So maybe I think she has the look, especially with like kind of the Barbie references and the pink and the color. Like it's very Barbie-ish, but not like she's, it's not like a, but I think she'll be a mega babyface. I think she can probably be a mega great at both. But
what better way to be a babyface than beat up Nia Jackson?
And I think them leaning into the Nia is this bully, like really, really crappy bully character. Like they went a completely different way than I thought they were going to go. I know why Tiffany won the Money in the Bank. She deserved it. It was the right moment. She was the right person to win it. But I did not see them going the route of Nia being this really, really bad bully. I didn't think they were going to go that way, but once they did, I was like, oh, if they do this right, by the time Tiffany cashes in, like she's going to be a mega star.
I would love to see them win the women's tag team titles, as the women's champion, as the Money in the Bank holder, and then kind of do this thing where like when they do lose the titles, that's when she cashes in on Nia. Yeah,
that'd be fun. And I think the moment's there. I think the crowd is going to go nuts for it. And I think they're going to have a big time baby face on their hands when it happens.
But what happens when Charlotte Flair comes back?
She wins everything.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair effect.
These two
she just wins right out the gate.
Very talented, very charismatic, athletic, blonde women on SmackDown. It's going to be an issue.
It could be. It could be.
I will say this. I know why Liv won. In my prediction was because you need one of the Crown Jewel champions on Raw, one on SmackDown, because I clearly thought Cody was Cody.
We had the same idea, but
I will say this: there's more intrigue on the Nia Tiffany side right now than there is Liv, based on Rhea being injured, and that's on the back burner. So that's why Monday we got the Jade and the Bianca stuff and the Battle Royal and things like that. So I think they made the right decision, but. I mean, which I think is maybe why they made the decision with Liv. They're like, we might as well give her this because we've already got all this other stuff over here. Why add this weird championship to it? And that's the other thing. Is Liv and Cody going to defend these things at the next Crown Jewel pay-per-view, or
no, it's just the two champs?
No, it's whoever's champion.
But that's
the ring.
Okay, the ring is like the trophy.
whole idea is that they take the thing, like the idea of like football, like you win.
No, like a champ. Okay, I wanted to. I'm not very smart. I wanted to make sure because I was like, there ain't no way Liv's making it to the next Crown Jewel as champ.
No, it's the belt stays there. It's staying in Saudi Arabia, both of them.
Does she have to like unceremoniously give up a ring that she never lost? Like what the hell?
Yeah, no. So I think they keep the ring.
Yeah, she may lose the ring, but she's always got dirty Doms. So there you go.
Well, for now. But yes, Liv gets the win there. And they did a little presentation afterwards with Triple H and the belt and things like that. One thing I did like on the pay-per-view was, so Kevin Owens was supposed to have a match with Randy Orton, and it turned into just like a 10-minute chaotic brawl all the way through the arena. KO attacked him with a steel chair as Randy Orton was posing in his entrance. So this never became a match. This was just thrown out, but they had the big brawl, and it ended with the big spot of Kevin Owens giving an elbow drop to Randy Orton through some tables off the balcony, like second level, stuff like that. Really, really liked it. I'm really digging what they're doing with Cody, KO, and Randy. I think this is going to lead to Randy eventually turning on Cody as well. And that's kind of the juicy story that Cody will have, hopefully heading into Mania and stuff like that. But I'm really digging what they're doing with all three of these guys. And I thought for a card that had 7 matches, when we're kind of so used to the 5-card stuff, I thought this not being a 20-25 minute match, just having the brawl to up the intensity of this, I thought this was perfect. I liked it.
You didn't need a Kevin Owens Randy Orton match because we've seen that before. We know what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. So giving the crowd something to get on their feet and get hyped over like what we got was brilliant. Makes Kevin Owens look like he's a real threat because he's taken out Randy Orton. Randy Orton got carted out. Makes him look like a threat, makes him a bigger heel. But it also starts to make you wonder, is this going to be the turning point where Randy Orton, because Cody did not make a save at all for Randy.
Nope.
He was nowhere to be found. Is this going to be
busy, man? He's busy.
Now, like Randy's going to feel like, man, ever since I came back in almost a year ago at Survivor Series, I haven't been Randy Orton because to be honest, to me, he hasn't been Randy Orton.
Exactly.
Singing with the crowd, having a good time. Yeah, maybe
it was cool when you first came back for like the first few weeks because you're like,
I want to see the Viper. I want to
see
I want to see him like go like get into that mode where he like RKOs someone out of nowhere, and you're like, oh,
well, I think that RKO is going to be Cody's RKO whenever they do it. That's the one.
I feel like this was really the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
where he's like, I got to snap out of this crap and get back to being who I am. And you see the little subtle looks at the WWE title when he's doing those things with Cody. So it's on his mind. Honestly, I would not be shocked if they did like Cody versus Kevin Owens at Survivor Series and then Cody and Randy at the Rumble.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think The Rock's getting Mania. I mean.
Yeah. You don't think they go Rock and Roman instead of Cody and they do Rock Roman at Mania? That's instead of Cody.
I don't know. There's so many things up in the air where it's kind of unpredictable, but it is predictable at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those things for me where like it all makes sense because The Rock. But the last time we heard him speak in the WWE ring, he told Cody, "We're not done here. I'm coming back for you at some point." So obviously we need to get to that match. Maybe it's just because of I think Randy and Cody, that is a deserving WrestleMania match and a deserving WrestleMania feud.
Yeah.
I would love that to be Cody's WrestleMania match is him and Randy. But obviously if you can get what are you going to do? Dustin though says he has a question for you. He goes, do you have any early Royal Rumble match predictions for both the men and the women right now as we stand?
I did for the men. The women's was kind of more. It was more difficult to kind of predict because there's so many things up in the air. Like if you ask me right now, I think if Rhea's back, maybe Rhea does it and she finally gets Liv at WrestleMania. Yeah. But to be honest, I'm over the Rhea Liv stuff. I'm done with it.
I am too.
So long. Like I think if you're gonna put the title back on Rhea, put it back on Rhea. If you're not gonna do that right now, then let her go do something else and start building up other women on the Raw roster. because it's been these two since I don't even remember. Right?
Yeah, it's been over. It's been over. Yeah, it's been a while.
Which I'm jumping ahead, but I was gonna say that that's all. That seems that that's all they got on Raw, and yet last night, man, they got a stacked women's division, and they are presenting those women perfectly on NXT. And the biggest storyline you have on your biggest program is a feud that's based around Dominic Mysterio. Yep. If you were to boil it down, there's a lot more nuance to it, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway.
So you said the men's. Who's the front runner for you right now in the men's?
So I liked how you said John Cena earlier because if you were to ask the child in me, the more sensitive side of me, the guy looking for like those emotional moments, I want it to be Cena.
Yeah,
I want to see him get that one last opportunity and go break Ric Flair's record because let's be honest. That record needs to be broken.
100%.
Ric Flair has proven us time and time again the record. It's time.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Do I think it's going to be Cena? Maybe not. Do I think maybe it comes down to like Roman and Seth, and then entrant number 31 comes out and The Rock wins it?
I was going to say, do we think The Rock could be in the Royal Rumble and win
Rock
it?
inputs himself and costs Roman.
Yeah.
Because Roman couldn't get the job done. So now he has to do it. And
because you remember at Bad Blood, he did that thing where he was like, you know, which says to me like he's not happy with what's happening. Fix
not happy. So maybe that leads to a Roman Rock match or a triple threat with Cody. Honestly, I would love to see Drew McIntyre get that opportunity. I would love to see CM Punk earn that opportunity and then go face the world champion at WrestleMania. But if you were to ask me, not as the wrestling podcaster, but as a wrestling fan, John Cena.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah. I think it would just be a good way to kick off that first month of his coming back. We already know we're getting him the full year. We know we're going to get him 30-something dates or whatever it is. We're going to see a lot of Cena matches next year in his first year. In his final year. And he's going to show up at that Raw on Netflix at the beginning of the month, and I think he should declare himself. He should be the first person that declares himself for the Royal Rumble on that Netflix Raw debut. That's why he should be there. And then I think he should win it. And then I think you have the ultimate good guy in John Cena going against the mega heel in Gunther. And I think that's a night one main event for sure. And I think night two, you figure out Roman, Cody, Rock, however you want to do that. I think that's the night two main event, but Cena and Gunther to close out night one with Cena breaking Flair's record. That's a giant deal. That's a giant deal.
What's crazy too? If you think about Cena's 16 title reigns, I personally don't even think they were good title reigns.
Not all of them.
Were they? Like I think they were just.
Well, a lot of those I feel like were in the era where there was like a 2 or 3 year era where the title felt like it was changing hands every 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was Cena Edge for like a year.
Yeah,
to back up those those title victories. But I think if they were to book this right and you have Cena win the Rumble, he beats Gunther, he feuds with Seth, he feuds with McIntyre, he feuds maybe with Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker. You give him like a really good title reign as the 17th. That's what he'll be remembered for, especially in today's generation of younger wrestling fans who may have not seen the other 16. Yeah, I think that would really make him the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what they should do. Like, obviously, Cena was polarizing as everybody, getting the boos, the Cena sucks with John Cena, whatever. But what really won that respect back was when he did the United States Open Challenges. Yeah. When he won the US title and he did those open challenges and he was facing opponents he normally didn't face. He fought Sami Zayn. He fought Kevin Owens, who had both come up from NXT. He was having matches. Yes, he was having one-offs with Sheamus, one-off with even Jack Swagger at one point. Like, he was having these matches with different opponents, and he was having bangers. And that won a lot of people over who had completely soured on John Cena. He was just having matches that we weren't used to seeing Cena have, like we did the previous 5 years and stuff like that. And that won a lot of people over. And I think that's actually a great point. Not that I don't want him doing an open challenge where he's defending the title every week because it's the world title. But if he wins it at Mania throughout the summer until SummerSlam, put him in some good matches with good opponents where he's running through people. And it's like
an
oh, man.
old school feel. Title.
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, Cena, and then get to the point where you're getting towards the end of the year and you have whoever you want. Obviously, if he's the champion next year, he'll be in that crown jewel match in Saudi against whoever it is for that ring or belt. You do whatever it is there. And then as you're approaching the end of the year, if he's still the champion, you can even intertwine a story in where it's like, well, what happens at the end of the year, John, if you're still the champ?
He retires as champion.
And he says, well, I'm thinking about maybe I retire or maybe I go longer.
He pulls a CM Punk.
Yes,
he's like, I take this belt with me.
Yeah. And then you're like,
turns heel, he turns heel at the end.
And then it turns into, all right, well, who the hell is going to knock off Cena? Who's going to knock him off? Is he going to keep the it just creates this intrigue because, we already know that it's the last year. So, it's like, why not? And you mentioned, you're mentioning like Seth. I would love to see them go again. I want him to face Young. I want to see him versus Braun Breaker. I want to see him versus Jacob Fatu if we can do that. I want
another Austin Theory match. I don't know.
Yes, there's young guys. There's young guys. I want to see him wrestle and stuff like that. But then there are the 5-star. I want to see him in Punk one last time. I want to see him one last. I want to see Sheamus. I want to see him in McIntyre. You just mentioned. I want to see him in Gunther.
Yep.
I want to see him.
He only gets 30 dates, JPJ.
I know.
He can wrestle them all.
I want to see him and Randy one last time. I do. I think that is a match we should get. At some point, there's a lot
Cody.
of. Yeah, him and Cody. That is the last match. Him and Cody could. I know Cody's not a young up-and-comer that needs it or anything, but him kind of handing the reins of you're clearly the guy now. Take it. You're the next me. You're the next decade. This is yours now. Cody would be a proper guy to be that last match and kind of do that too. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. All right, back to Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel.
Yes, I like it. We have 20-minute segues where we talk about not Crown Jewel at all, and then we just dive back in. We then had the triple threat, which I thought was a really good match. I thought the finish of this match in particular, with the way LA Knight hit the BFT as Carmelo hit his finisher on Andrade, was very, very cool. And I thought it was a fun finish.
Title run.
Yeah, LA Knight's doing good stuff. I'm a Boston boy, so I was pulling for my dude Carmelo. I get it. But LA Knight's been a good champion. He's been a good champion here. I don't think people are talking about enough. No. It's a good run, dude. He hasn't had it for that long, and he already has 7 or 8 title defense. It's been a good run. It's been a good run.
And it's been little feuds, but not major feuds. It's
exactly. I'm trying to think of who that major feud. And you speak about LA Knight. I would love to see a John Cena and LA Knight little thing there with them promos against.
They're undefeated tag team.
They are. That's
right.
But I'm kind of waiting. It's been a great title reign. I like how who's he defended against. I need that. Who is going to be it seems like they're leaning still Santos Escobar is kind of creeping around still.
I wish they used
a little bit.
He is so good.
Yeah. And I know they fought for the title on a SmackDown a little while back, but you give me a long form feud, but I'm just trying to figure out when is that long form feud coming for LA Knight? Because I feel like he needs. Yeah, I feel like he needs a feud to go on instead of just he's having great defenses, but we need a story, I think, for whoever's going to be next in line with him. And then we were at our main event of the evening. It was for the men's Crown Jewel Championship. It was Cody. It was Gunther. Big fight feel.
Boo! Way to play it safe, you bums.
I picked Gunther. I picked Gunther to win this match. I thought that going into it, I didn't know that the KO Randy thing would fold the way the way it did. But I actually had KO getting involved here and costing Cody.
I thought so too.
That's what I had. So that's why I picked Gunther to win. But they did it in a way. Look, it was a great match. It was a great match. Yeah. And Cody did the old Bret Hart WrestleMania 8 over Roddy Piper in the chokehold, flipped his legs over, 1, 2, 3, pinned him clean right in the middle of the ring.
It's cool.
See, that's why I wish the Bloodline main evented, because the ending of this of a PLE, I was just like, that's how you're gonna send people home. Like,
well, we did a preview show last week, and PLUGGO had picked Cody, and I was like, there were 4 of us, and 2 of us were picked Gunther, and two of us picked Cody. And when he said he was picking Cody, me and the other person that were picking Gunther were like, what? Why would you pick Cody? And PLUGGO specifically said, I cannot see this show not ending with fireworks going off behind Cody
holding that damn belt.
That was the end shot. And I said,
that damn nipple to
right,
knees
PLUGGO.
title.
Damn right. Yeah. I did not have that. I had Gunther winning.
And how big were those titles?
Nipple to knees, baby.
They really
were massive.
Poor Liv Morgan. I'm glad they gave her a ring because she would have fell over carrying that damn thing.
Unbelievable.
Again, I thought the match was fine. I thought, and like I said at the time, like 2 hours ago when we said we were talking Crown Jewel, that it was a very surface level. They didn't do anything crazy that I wasn't like, oh shit, that's wild. Yeah. They did. But I do like that these Crown Jewel PLEs are becoming more about the talent they have now than the talent of the past. Yeah. I do like that a lot.
Undertakers.
Yes, I do like that we're doing that. So overall, I thought it was fine. But again, they did play it safe. I did pick Cody, but this would have been the spot to put Gunther over in a way that, like, it don't really make any difference. And it would have been.
I wasn't really a fan of at first, the brand versus brand, Raw versus SmackDown. I'm like, Crown Jewel just stole Survivor Series. Yeah. But it's pretty smart if you think about it, how they did it, because you're getting both. You're getting the idea of Survivor Series, brand versus brand, at Crown Jewel. And then in the same month, and then a few weeks later, you're getting War Games at Survivor Series, where each PLE gets that focus.
Yes.
Instead of picking one or the other. So that was pretty brilliant how they did that. But I don't think there was enough time to build the brand versus brand. They should have maybe done like some sort of Raw group versus SmackDown group, and winner gets bragging rights, and then you do the champions versus champions. Like, make it more Raw versus SmackDown than it was.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think now we'll see going into next year where they know this is what we're doing at every Crown Jewel now. I bet you they'll probably do a better job of planning that out, because it did seem they announced the belts and then we didn't really get much of it. And then it was like, 3 weeks. Sorry, here we go. And like,
let's go.
Yeah. And like, look, the Cody Gunther promos back and forth, those were good stuff. Like, I liked it, but it didn't feel like it was enough time. And then another reason why I picked Gunther is, like, we all know as wrestling fans, and we all know that somewhere down the line, we are going to get this feud in long form for a long time. These guys should be
at the Rumble after.
Yes,
2 years ago.
2 years ago, he's been the guy that's been in there at the end with Cody both times. Like, this feud should be, if you got a map of the next 5 to 7, 10 years of WWE, these are the two guys that should always be intertwined with each other. Like, they're clearly the best bad guy and the biggest good guy, and you can whatever.
I call Gunther on it, because if you look at it, Gunther doesn't necessarily have a world title feud right now.
Yeah,
where Cody is kind of diving into the Kevin Owens, Randy stuff. So I thought Kevin Owens was going to come cost Cody, but then Randy's going to make the save, and they're both kind of going to cost Cody the match.
Yeah.
Gunther chokes Cody out. Now Cody wants to blame these two guys, and
there was some ways they could have done that, but
for sure.
they got their shot. They got their shot at the end.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
so
then
that was Crown Jewel, man.
Look at, I feel like especially
it was what it was.
Especially in the especially in the Triple H regime, those shows of Crown Jewel, or we know what's the other one? What's the other one? Whatever. The 2 shows a year that they do in Saudi Arabia.
They're both called Crown Jewel.
Are they both called? No, I thought the other one.
They had Crown Jewel, and they had the King and Queen
of the Ring.
That's what they did.
The Crown Jewel King and Queen. That's how I
whatever.
Fair. Whatever.
The Saudi WrestleMania. That's how I
Yeah. But I feel like ever since Triple H has been in charge, like in his regime, nothing seismic happens at these shows. Like nothing super duper storyline wise. No big things occur in these shows for the most part.
Esque matches, but it's nothing like crazy.
So the fact that they created these belts, I think that was their way of going, okay, this allows us to build this up like these are really big matches because they're for these titles. But in the scheme of what we're planning heading towards the end of the year and into Rumble and Mania season, it doesn't affect what we're doing from our storylines at all.
You could drop, there's Cody and Gunther, it ends there, and now you go into the other storylines.
100%. And so I feel like them creating these titles, even though plenty of people are like, they don't really mean much, whatever. Like, it's a way for them to make this be a big deal, but it doesn't affect their plans, because the Mania plans, they start building almost a year in advance for some of them. And if you're trying to, this is just a way to kind of, we can do this. And Cody and Gunther are focused on each other, not their other stories. What we have plans doesn't matter. We can do it afterwards. Good to go. And then you get, like you said, a WrestleMania type feel, but the stuff really doesn't matter at all.
Proof that the world is coming to the end. Our lovely Twitter, Twitter's all messed up.
Is Twitter messed up right now?
Yeah. No, just it won't let us run our stream. I just noticed. I was like, "What's this alert I'm getting in the corner?" I'm like reading this weird thing, and I was like, "Oh, it says Twitter's messed up." Oh, okay.
Elon.
Oh, shock! What a shock that Twitter is down.
The day he says that we are the media, he eliminates the media.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No.
But I will say this: I did want to talk. We don't have to go super duper in depth on both shows, but they did go head to head last night.
Yeah.
NXT was at the ECW arena, and AEW had just a run of the mill AEW show. Who do you guys think won overall?
NXT.
Yeah, I thought NXT was a better show, but I thought
I also don't watch. Spoiler alert! I don't want to. I'm gonna get like hate for this probably. I don't watch AEW.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I thought both shows were really good. I thought both shows were good, but I thought NXT outperformed last night. I thought, and I'm a sucker for nostalgia. So, and I grew up in the.
That's what I was gonna say. Those, what is that? PLUGGO? How dare you?
Yeah.
That guy looks familiar. That's a handsome son of a bitch right there.
Yeah, it's true.
I was gonna say the nostalgia factor for me took it over the top. I don't think AEW
Nunzio wrestled, man.
Yeah, exactly. We had Nunzio.
Focus on underappreciated ECW talent. It's not like what you would normally see, the Rob Van Dams, the Dudley Boys like we saw, but Nunzio, Francine, Dawn Marie, Rhino,
it was very cool.
Every time I looked over, I was like, "Oh shit, it's another ECW legend."
Yeah. And I was definitely an ECW kid. I grew up I started focusing on wrestling in the mid to late 90s, and I remember staying up late to turn on the Spanish channel at channel 17 at 1 a.m. on Fridays. I remember being like an 11-year-old trying my best to stay up that late to be like, let me go watch this extreme stuff that my parents would kill me if they knew I was watching.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, I don't hate AEW. There's so much wrestling to watch during the week. Fair. I try to cut back a little bit. So, I don't really watch it as much. There are some things that I like. Like I love right now them building up Kyle Fletcher. I love what they're doing with Will Ospreay. He's literally the face of that company.
Yeah. Listen, PLUGGO. Keep running your mouth and kick you out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I watch it. I like AEW generally speaking, but no, it wasn't a bad show. It just was they hit the nostalgia out of the park. Like I said earlier, that 10-woman tag. They presented the women's roster it is just. It's crazy to me that they can present that NXT women's roster the way that they're presenting it, and they can't do that on Raw or SmackDown.
It shows that they do such good business. And I know a lot of people don't credit them for that, but to include Jordan Grace, granted, it's at least to me, it's kind of obvious that
she's there.
Her contract is up, I think, in January.
She's gone. She reworked her contract. It was supposed to be up in June to be done in January. And it was okay, Royal Rumble, Jordan Grace, that makes sense. 100%. And then they started partnering together, and now she's just pretty much. And Masha was the right one to take it off of her in Impact. That made perfect sense. Sure did. And now it's she's free and clear, and it's
I think she's gonna walk in the door at NXT and be like, "Oh, you're here now?" And you're like, "Yeah, I've been here."
Here's a good question for both of you. I posted this on socials. Will Jordan Grace? Now, hear me out. Now, 6 months ago, I would have said yes unequivocally. Will Jordan Grace hold NXT Championship gold in 2025?
I would think so.
But
I think she'd go right to the main roster if they really.
I mean, right now Roxanne has it. Julie and Stephanie Vicure are there.
Yeah.
I want to say Delta, but I'm blanking on her name.
Zarya.
Zarya's there now. Jordynne Grace, obviously, but it's like now there's this like kind of intense logjam at the top. Or do we think maybe Jordynne Grace, this is her NXT run? When that Rumble hits and she's officially signed, she's just going to Raw or SmackDown.
I think she's maybe gonna be in the Rumble, but I think she debuts after Mania on the main roster.
Yeah.
Let her do some stuff in NXT where, you know, maybe she feuds with Zarya, because I think I read that Zarya is she's gonna be like the top heel in NXT.
I think that's the plan. Like they're gonna make her like a real big time.
And Julia is gonna be like the face of the brand as the baby face. So there's so much opportunity to have Jordynne Grace matches in there until WrestleMania that you can utilize her there. You build her, you keep building her, but you also build these other talents that are there.
Yeah.
And then when you bring her after WrestleMania to the main roster, she's off to the races.
Because I was looking at it last night and I'm going like, yeah, it makes sense. NXT champion Jordynne Grace makes sense, right? But then you're looking at those 10 women in that ring. You're looking at a Kalani Jordan. You're like, they're good. If they didn't want to go that route, and they still would be fine. So it's just crazy to think, right? Like 6 months ago, before all these signings, she might have gone, no, it's a slam dunk. Now I'm like, maybe they got other plans for Jordan.
Yeah.
Put it this way, I'd be happy with anything to do with her, because I would be so happy that she's being put on that platform and she's earned that. Because she has been grinding for so long. And I remember, I think she said she was going to be like a TNA lifer. Where she was like, I want to be known for building this brand and this Knockouts world title.
She did.
Yeah, but how many wrestlers say that? And then then a lot had to do back in the day. And I don't know if the policies have changed. There was she was making millions. She was a millionaire. You know what I mean? She was doing her thing. She's got her own. She has all that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, like Jade said the same thing at AEW. If I left, to go to there, I'd have to give up a bunch of endorsement deals, but maybe now the juice is worth more of the squeeze. And it's like, well, now I can offset all the sponsorships I lost and endorsements. I'm psyched. I'm psyched for all of it. Like I said, I was sitting there last night and I thought AEW was fine, but I was just like, I was more invested in what was going on with all of that because I mean, let's be honest. Tony used to come out the gate swinging during these wars. And now it feels very like he's cool with going, we're going up against NXT. We're just going to do our thing and play it safe. And which, granted, I don't care about the ratings. They were close.
We don't talk ratings.
We don't talk ratings, but it just feels like he's not. He's not.
Yeah. I don't care about ratings.
No. Did you enjoy the show?
I care about my own ratings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did I have fun?
That's my thing. Did you enjoy the show? Yes or no? All right, let's talk about it.
Was the Lashley stuff dope? Yeah.
I don't care if 5 people watched it. It's not about them. It's about how I felt about the show, and now let's talk
Powerhouse Hobbs is back. That's badass.
Yeah,
Ospreay
great.
Like it's cool. And I just miss that Tony Khan edge where he was like, we're going head to head. I'm also gonna pull out some crazy stops. He did it, but which is again to his credit. We know that's a negative thing people say about him, that he worries too much about the other side. But when you're going head to head, why not? But either way,
I don't want to say anything bad about Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Outside of his social media.
Yeah. He's gotten better though. I think somebody somewhere told him. Yeah, I think somewhere a couple months ago somebody leaned in and went like, "Yo, take it easy," because he's been a lot better.
Pump the brakes, bro.
I just feel like he was so worried about not beating WWE in ratings. I think he was so worried about becoming WWE that he went and signed all of these people. And now he's overwhelmed, and he's like, "What the hell do I do with everybody? Because there's not enough room."
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fair.
Yeah,
it's fair. They
not
have
enough talent, but like if you look at somebody like Ricochet, who is a big name, believe it or not, and the way that they brought him in, like he was in a battle royal and just lost.
He should have won the battle royal.
If you're not going to have him win the battle royal, put him in a normal one-on-one match then, so you can actually. Get some steam rolling into Dynamite.
Yeah, it's fair.
Like, that is a problem that he has. He's been better about it.
Where Ricochet is right
but
now.
But it's still like we talked about it when he faced Ospreay. It's like if you're not going to have Ricochet just win this belt over Ospreay.
Build to the
yeah, build to it, because if you do it in 2 weeks and he loses, you already go, well, shit, he's lost to Battle Royal, he lost to Ospreay. Why am I invested? We know it's Ricochet, but yeah, he's got better, but it's still
back up now.
Yeah, give me 6 weeks of just showing this audience what Ricochet can do that he's not been doing. So yeah, I get it, but yeah,
I don't like the mix. Like 1 week, it's like Lance Archer is with. He sold them to somebody. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Chris Statlander is a heel with Stokely Hathaway. She's a baby face.
Born again.
She's a baby face. She turns heel, goes with Stokely Hathaway, and then literally, like, it feels like a month later, she's like, no, I'm good. I'm back at being a baby face. I will agree with Scott. Dynamite was near me last night. It was good.
Hampshire.
It was a really good show. Like it
just wasn't to the level of NXT. I don't think it was like, it just felt like, again, if that Dynamite stood absolutely on its own on Wednesday by itself, it would be. But when you were watching side by side, it was just like, and again, it was probably a lot of the nostalgia thing. Like, we're not going to get all those pops that we would have gotten.
It wasn't a normal NXT. It was like
NXT. It was that thing. Thank you, Joe. That's what it was.
Gets ratings,
Gimmick NXT, more intrigued because it's at ECW's arena, so you can't. Lola Vice got hit in the face with a brick. How that doesn't end a match, I don't know.
They flat out had like a camera on her face and just
she's just like, I'm gonna kick out of this. I'm like, I would be dead still.
Yeah. Then you got that 10-woman match at the end where everybody wants.
And so Scott did pin both their heavyweight champions on NXT last night.
Yeah,
Rick
did.
Williams, Ridge Holland.
That made no hit. I thought it was
like,
bot.
What? That happened. I
was like, what just happened? Like, Bully didn't even get to do his whole thing.
And Bubba they did it after the match. And that was a cool moment with D-Bunk.
This is a PSA to all the Ridge Holland fans. Whoever's the president of the Ridge Holland fan club, please come on the show and explain to me why we're invested in Ridge Holland. That's all. That's all I want.
They had investment in him way back when he was first on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And they were building him up as this mega heel. And then he like destroyed his leg and
blew out his knee in that multi-man match
back
or
and
whatever.
Went to the main roster with Sheamus and
the Big E stuff happened, and all this stuff happened.
Like this Ridge Holland,
and look at he did the stuff with Chase U, which I thought was entertaining, but now he's just back to like this just brooding English pissed off guy. We lost Pluggo. It's just you and me. Pluggo's like, I'm done. But he just turned into like, he's back to like this just brute. And look at the dude looks like $1 million. He's jacked. He's got the look and everything.
But it comes off like a generic, like,
I don't know what is happening. My internet timer must have ran out.
It was quick. It was a quick comeback. I was expecting maybe a long, but I was saying Rich Holland has just turned into this big brooding, like angry English guy now. And like
if he wants to beat the shit out of Bully Ray, like I'm cool with that, but
but it seems like last night he's going to be next in
the crowd of everybody because he's a rugby player. Let him just go do his thing.
It
comes off like a very generic, created superstar on like 2K.
Yeah, and I feel like because of what we saw last night, I would assume that he's next in line to get a championship little thing here with Trick, pinning him like that.
And I think people would hate it so much.
Yeah, and like I know
work in his favor.
Yeah, and
people didn't like Trick losing it the first time.
Yeah, but like Trick is over as hell, so like I think that will work. Like Trick is going to be, he already is a mega baby face, but Trick is going to be. There's going to be nobody not rooting for Trick. You know what I mean?
Get on Trick,
so I think it helps. And then we saw Roxanne
on the show last night. I don't.
He did a. I think there was like an interview.
Ethan Page.
Yeah, I thought I saw he did something.
Yeah, I think he did an interview, but he was not on the show.
I'm loving that guy.
I love Ethan Page. To me, that is a guy that can go to the main roster whenever they want.
And he was a guy like you talked about earlier with the bloated rot. He came in at a good time, but then like he came in and then Tony ended up, it just kind of fell where it was like, oh God, like Ethan's getting shots, but yeah, could you imagine had some of those dominoes maybe not fell where
He was in
Ethan
like
Page?
someone's family, and then he left.
Yeah, but again, like he came in at a great time. We're like, oh shit, that's going to be really good for them. And again, we talked about you can't not sign some of these people that they sign. Like if CM Punk is available, you sign CM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Ethan
I get
Page
it.
made me feel like NXT way back in the day when Bobby Roode was there. Like that's how it felt. Like that old school, like
He is that old school, like cocky. I'm handsome.
heel.
I'm better than you.
Yes.
I'm the best.
But he's also kind of funny.
Yeah, exactly. But he's got the charisma, and he's a guy too that I think down the line, he's the perfect bad guy. He was, in the way that they treated him coming in and winning the belt right away. That needed to happen. It was perfectly done. They know what they have there. For me, he's a Royal Rumble guy, and he's on the main roster after that. To me, he can fit in and fill any, whether it's mid card, top of the card. That's a guy that'll be on your roster for as long as you want him to be on your roster, and he is money. And he will burn that spot.
The biggest problem that I see WWE having right now is that if you look at NXT, there is a roster in itself for both men and women that could be called to the main roster.
Yeah.
But the main roster has so many main event talent that there's not enough room for all of them.
Yeah.
We saw AJ Styles gone for forever because there was nothing for him. Shinsuke Nakamura gone because there's nothing for him. There's so many people. Sheamus too. Like these are guys that could easily be main eventers, but also great mid-carders. There's just so many of them that there's not enough room. And if you bring up Ethan Page, I feel like he gets stuck in the fold somewhere and eventually get to that list where it's like, do we cut him or do we keep him? And it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, they're obviously, the rumors are starting in the new year, SmackDown's going to be moving to 3 hours again, or SmackDown's going to go to 3 hours to kind of replace
They're
Raw.
both going to be like 3 hours or something.
And yeah, I've heard Netflix really, the thing I've hearing is it's not going to have a run time or an end time exactly. So like 1 week it could be 2.5 hours. The next week it could be whatever, which
I will hate that.
I actually think that'll be kind of all right. But
I struggle to stay awake till 10 at this point.
So maybe if you're thinking
I love
like
SmackDown at 2 hours, but
Oh,
let me
my
tell
God.
you, they have been struggling going back to 2 hours for Raw.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It's been there's something has been off since they left the 3 hour format.
Well, because if you remember when they did the split, they gave them more talent because they had the third hour. So now they're trying to cram in. Because Triple H said it. Somebody asked him, to their credit, they asked him at the Bad Blood presser. They said, hey, is this going to be what kind of change? And he goes, actually, if you think about it, it's more of a problem than a solution because we have all this stuff going on. And now we've got to try to figure out how to give them the same amount of time in a 2 hour block instead of 3. So they're still trying to tweak it out. So maybe it'll be better with 3 hours and go back to normal with Netflix and not having a hard out and stuff. But
SmackDown works well at 2.
Yeah.
So if they go to 3, I feel like maybe something will get.
And that's also kind of why I think you're seeing a lot more main roster talent in the NXT because obviously they're shooting for ratings on the CW, but they're going, you know what? Some of that talent we were putting on TV was not ready. Granted, it is a developmental brand, but why aren't we using, like you said, these mid-card guys that are sitting here with nothing to do? Let's bring them down to NXT, let them work with some of these young talents. So it's all working. Like they'll figure it out. I've got faith, but I just don't want to sit down on Monday night and go, do I have to sit here for 4 hours or is it 1.5? You know what I mean? Like
you don't
make the window. It's either going to be 2 to 3 hours. Don't go crazy because I like to know when my shows are over.
That's fair. That's fair.
I got kids, damn it. Like Heath Slater, baby.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, this has been a fun conversation tonight. We literally went everywhere. The only plan we had was really Crown Jewel, and we this
I
is a lot of fun.
apologize.
Yeah, no, you never.
Never.
I have a feeling that
We would have sat here anyway
Exactly.
and went anywhere
Well, no, but
without you.
I had a feeling that this type of the way that we've kind of hit it off and started chatting tonight, that we could probably sit in this room and talk for two more hours if we really wanted to. Yes. So this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us. And it's an open door policy here, my dude. So like anytime, we're definitely going to want to have you, and we definitely will have you back on the show. But anytime you're itching, or anytime you want us to hop on your stuff, whatever, man, like this is open forum, open door for us. You've been great tonight. This was a really great conversation, and I want to talk more wrestling with you in the future.
Corbin for you. We will
yes.
be like, Baron, sorry, bud.
Hey, if you get him on, you better call me.
Yes, we will. 100%.
There's proof now that we.
Yeah,
he's got receipts. He's gonna be like, you said.
You said it's on air.
Listen, Love Wrestling IT department, can we scrub this episode from existence? Only if Baron Corbin comes on. If it doesn't, then it's all a good fun. But if he does, we got to somehow flub that. It's got to Watergate style.
We appreciate you coming on. Before me and Pluggo do our goodbyes and get out of here, let the people know where they can find you, where they can follow you. I know you said you just kind of got back into doing content within the last couple of days, but like what your schedule is, where they can find you, what you got coming up.
Of course. So yes, if you don't know, my name is Joey Karni, host of the Angle Podcast. You can find me on all social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, X, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of them, all at The Angle Joey. You can find me on YouTube at The Angle Podcast. I post every single day on TikTok and Instagram, whether it's hot takes or predictions or funny little skits that I do, whatever it is. There's wrestling stuff there every single day. Again, you can follow me all there, or you can just go to my website, theanglejoey.com, and everything is there pretty much.
Love it. Pluggo, do the thing, and then we'll get up on out of here. To the throat. Excalibur time.
What's the thing?
Only because I get to say, for the first time live on a stream, that if you stay on this channel, there is an interview up right now with me and Marco Stunt.
True.
It happened. I'm so excited.
One, right?
The first one since he retired.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got incredibly. It was an unfortunate situation that he had retired, but it was very fortunate with the timing of how it worked out. So it's up right now. He goes super in depth about his retirement, everything that went into that decision, his new promotion, all that fun stuff. Please go check that out because again,
I saw it posted everywhere. It was literally all over wrestling.
It was a wild couple of days. I got to be honest. So thank you to everybody for your kind words and your support on that. That was my number one interview on the list if I was going to make a list, and I'm not just saying that. It is what it is. But other than that, I've got Saturday morning, 10 a.m. with Blair Pacheco, Graymaker Pod 4 Exposure. We are talking to the one, the only Mackenzie Morgan, and I got to tell you, that was one of the funnest conversations I've ever had with a pro wrestler. She is absolutely fantastic. Check that out. I've got a LPW show with Paralera up right now. I got tasked with talking to those bums. Outstanding challengers to the LPW championship. Disrespect. You should see what they said about my mama.
They like me.
Oh,
they like me.
No, I got that up right now on the LPW show. Go to Love Wrestling Patreon. Check that out. If you want to know what we got going on at B2 Beards on all social media platforms, all of them, you go there, you check it out. We'll figure out what the Tuesday tiers we got with the football, Tuesday or Wednesday tiers football. All the stuff we do, all the guests we got coming up, all the clips, it's all there, all the fun. And then, of course, me, I'm Pluggo. You could find me on all social media platforms. Just search Pluggo, and my face will pop up going like this. I need to change that.
It may be. It's all right. It works for you.
I will tell you guys this. The next wrestling event that we're all at, because I'm sure that you guys will be at the next one, wherever that is, beer on me.
Very much.
We'll
that'll be
guys
fun.
at the bar.
Yeah. We'll make it work.
I will definitely. I'll take you up on I'll drive you guys around. I don't drink, so I'll do the non-alcoholic beer. But yeah, I don't know what the next one you're going to is, but I know Spencer is going to Vancouver for Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I'm not going to.
I think the Rumble is the next one on my radar. The Rumble.
That's the next one. Yeah, my neck of the woods for us, Indiana.
February for Royal Rumble.
Yeah, right.
Beers on Joey and
Pluggo is from Indiana. It's in Indianapolis, Indiana. So it's in Pluggo, a couple hour drive. But I feel like that would probably be the next logistical thing where the two of us can kind of get together.
Do not scrub that footage where he said he was
I was
buying
gonna
the
say,
trade.
now
Yes,
you
no,
can-
yeah. With that footage we can keep where he said he's buying.
Hi, I'm Pluggo. I play both sides of the ball.
Yes. You can find me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. Blue Sky, Threads, all of them, Twitter, everywhere. That's where you can find me. Thursday nights, 8 p.m., the flagship right here, Beards with this fella. Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 10 a.m., me and Drew Nicholas, we have Firmly Love Wrestling. We talk WWE on Tuesdays. We talk AEW on Thursdays. And yeah, I stream video games Monday through Friday almost every day on Twitch, and I'm terrible at them, and I get angry and yell, but it's fun. And yeah, so you can go follow me there. Joey, once again, thank you for joining us tonight. This was a really, really great conversation and fun episode.
Thank you guys.
And I meant it when I said you are welcome back anytime, my friend.
I appreciate it.
All right. So everybody, thank you for all the questions and comments in the chat. We appreciate you all. But you guys know the drill. Until me and Plug, you see you next Thursday night at 8 p.m. Everyone say hi to Sue.
Hi, Sue.
And
Ride or die, forever champ. Suck it, Paralera.
Wow. Peace out.
Hey there, Plugo and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue, and I have a bone to pick with you. So, I understand that you guys are being real idiots and spending your entire monthly budget. You've got to be kidding me. This is not the way to be when you're trying to run a business. Your boss, Spencer, is really pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at you. You have some nerve. Get a grip. You have to control yourself. You can't just go out and spend all the money that you're making, you two beards guys. Oh no, this is coming out so stupid. Anyway, behave yourselves, or I'm going to cut you off from watching AEW. You're no longer going to get to know, be able to meet my son. What? Or me. I'm sorry, this is like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for being fans. Watch.